I get no help from the top. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. No resistance, only resistance. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. The first mistake was to underestimate the way I break through the gate. I'll never take the bait. They think I'm still coming up, but I'm blowing up. You can call it what, but listen up. There's no free ticket, no free ride, no plan B, this is do or die. It didn't get here overnight, success was right inside. But I understand a crowd, a story you read about. Picture perfect after I cut the people that get me bleeding out. Do my thing while the industry hates me. Opposite of an industry, baby. Put me in a cage to come out with babies. Foaming out the mouth, taste so baby. Blacklist and no blame missing. Millions of people still listening. Our fans are the only reason we're still here. We're still breathing. I get no help from the top. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. No assistance, only resistance. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. I get no help from the top. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. No assistance, only resistance. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. I've been working all day and night for the past 20 years to get this right. The future felt unstable, stuck on a record label. The final nail in the coffin, the Grim Reaper knocking. We almost called it quits, but we had so much left to give. Resisting through the storms and clouds to who we are. It feels like every artist ends up in some sort of identity crisis. But we've been the same since we wrote the song about how the sun rises. I get no help from the top. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. No assistance, only resistance. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. I get no help from the top. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. No assistance, only resistance. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. I get no help from the top. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. No assistance, only resistance. I get no help, but I'm never gonna stop. I've been reading tea leaves at the bottom of the cup, and I'm afraid to say that the future isn't looking up. I can see the storm clouds starting to roll in. The sun is shining now, but it's about to be hidden. We can wait around until the fire burns out. We can save ourselves. There's greener pastures lying ahead for me. There's something
Okay, there we are. I think we are. I think we are perfectly live.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yeah. So how's it going, everyone? This is Imperial here, and welcome back to another Team Cola podcast. And today we have Rena. So how are you going?
I'm going just fine. I'm Rina Hoshinari, everybody, and I am a magical VTuber. I like to grant wishes, but so long as those wishes aren't going to harm anybody else in the process, please do not wish for poisoned sandwiches or for someone's tea to be poisoned or anything. Like, let's not do that. Let's make sure that everything's all good, fine and dandy, and that we're spreading smiles to people. But yeah, I'm pretty simple in that sense.
Yeah, that's a really a good introduction. Yeah. So so pretty much we're gonna have like a few things we'll talk about today. I do know we probably have some quite maybe potentially different opinions on a few different topics, like for instance, Sonic Frontiers, a game that I think we're both trying to be optimistic for, hopefully. but um, but yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Trying to be optimistic. But yeah, like we'll get into more about that uh later into the podcast a bit. But we'll start off with probably some simple stuff. And as always, as well, if you guys in chat do have any potential questions that you want to ask both of us, feel free to pop them in the chat away. There is probably also going to be the chance that maybe we might not get to it because maybe the chat might be going a bit too quickly, or maybe it might get lost in the chat somewhere. So definitely don't feel like you just need to type it once. You can definitely type it again, but just don't spam it. But yeah, so we've had that little bit of an introduction. I guess one thing I tend to ask a lot of VTubers is how did you like get your start into VTubing?
Hmm. Well, my start into VTubing, you see, the thing about it is this is like, I guess this is like the funnier thing, about like the whole VTubing thing. Um, so before I became a VTuber, I was just a simple anime blogger, and I've like told you that before, that like I'm
Yeah.
an anime blogger, that I like run like an anime Facebook page and so forth, and well, I used to podcast with my one friend Raycon.
Hmm.
We used to do a podcast together, but alas, it got stolen, and there's not much that you could do about that. That's a very shitty situation to be in, honestly. But
Yeah.
she wanted to make her own little comeback, and she's like, Rena, let's become VTubers, and we could be like VTuber podcasters. It'll be so innovative because we could do so much more with it. And I was like, yeah, I guess we could be like VTuber podcasters. I guess we could do that, but I I don't have money. Like I'm like I don't have money for like a VTuber model and stuff, and I don't have the stuff in general for that sort of thing. So I don't know how you expect me to do that. And she's like, "Don't worry about it. Like you could start and be a PNG like tuber and stuff." And I'm just like, if you want me to do a podcast and you want to be like all like extra about it, and you really want to have like some really like fine like like production value for it as well, then I want to like have like a full-blown model. So you're
Hmm.
you're going to upset me, and I'm like going to pop you in the face if you just sit there and say otherwise. But I'm sure I'll find a way. I'm sure. And so I would like to say that my VTuber model was like a collaborative effort and stuff, and like from two people that I'm very thankful towards. My mama, Tia Ardius, and then my rigger Izumi. It was definitely a nice little collaborative effort, but they essentially got me like like into the whole VTubing thing because they worked hard and essentially made me come to life essentially, and that's
Hmm.
that's really nice. I appreciate them a great deal for doing that. I'm very thankful because it's given me a chance to make people happy and make people smile and so forth. Like, I'm very glad that I get to do VTubing. So I guess I just started. Like, I didn't really
Hmm.
sit there and have much of a, like, like a background or anything when it came to like VTubing, because before all this I didn't even like hearing about VTubers too often, because
Hmm.
I was just getting tired of it being brought up like every 5 seconds. Like, not that I
Yeah.
hated VTubers or anything. It's more just like, like if Izumi ends up checking this out and she's going to, this is like a call out post on her. Like, we'd be sitting there in like voice chat, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like I'll be sitting there like, oh yeah, I'm like eating some like nice fish right now. If it should be like, yeah, a VTuber I was watching made fish, and now I feel inspired to like cook more fish now because she cooked fish, and like maybe I could be a better cook and stuff. And I'm like, okay, okay. And so then I'm like, oh man, like I feel like drinking water. And she's like, oh, that VTuber drank water today. And I'm like, can you stop? Can you stop, please? Like,
uh,
like please stop for like a second? Like, I'm getting tired of hearing like about like I can't say one thing without you like suddenly bringing up like another VTuber, a VTuber this, a VTuber this. Like, do you breathe in like like I don't know, like Sharpies because of a VTuber too? Like what else is it? Like, please relax, relax. It's fine. Just relax,
yeah.
relax. But other than that, I'm very grateful towards her and stuff. But so yeah, I just didn't have much of a background. Like, my first VTuber that I discovered when I got started into VTubing, I think it was Simphila Ashera. Like, Simphila is a fox goddess VTuber,
Oh.
and like Simphila was like the first one that I like followed, and I was like, wow, you are amazing. Like, I basically just was like, you're amazing. I adore you. Let me cook for you.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I always like knowing, I guess, like how people like got their start, even if it's like just that sort of tiny bit of inspiration somewhere that somehow leads you down to the path of a VTuber or something along those lines. It's like I think I've told this story like probably many times on the podcast, but I always like telling it again and again. But yeah, it's like when I first, I guess, found out about VTubing, I sort of heard about it from more the Western sort of side of things instead of like Japan. Like, because like yeah, it was popular in Japan for probably at least a good few months to maybe even a year or more prior to coming to the West. But but I think like Project Melody was my first VTuber I found, and I think a lot of people can probably guess like how I would have found out about her
Mm-mm-mm.
because because the way she sort of debuted and stuff. Like I found out about her from a YouTube video, and this YouTube video was like just a another anime YouTuber sort of interviewing her like when she sort of first started up. I think even before she started on Twitch. And it was really interesting. And I was like, oh, okay, so is this what a VTuber is? And then I sort of started discovering more of like her content, and eventually it opened the gates to all sorts of different VTubers, like whether it's like V Shoujo, Niji Sanji, Hololive, like the independent VTuber scene. Like it sort of opened the doors, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. But at first I was like, yeah, this is not for me. This is not what I'm doing because I'd sort of been making YouTube videos here and there, and then I eventually started on Twitch as an IRL streamer, and I was that for a long time. And then eventually I ended up just sort of going, I want to be a VTuber, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. and that eventually led to me sort of getting into learning how to do stuff with Vroid, and here I am. Here's me. But yeah, it's like that's sort of, I guess, the steps that led to me getting into VTubing, and also just being the IRL sort of guy who's friends with VTubers. So
Yeah, which is pretty cool in a sense. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with like VTubers being friends with like IRL people. Like I
yeah,
feel like it's always so weird whenever I see there are some VTubers who will like refuse to like collab with like non VTubers and stuff, and it's just
mm,
like I don't see it as often as I did before, but it's just kind
yeah,
of like why does that person need like why does that person have to be a VTuber for you to collab with them? Like at the end of the day, VTubers are all normal people too. It's just that some of us look like really cute anime girls, or some of us have like ginormous like bazongas and stuff. Like
yeah,
yeah, like I don't think that there's much of a difference. I think that you know hey, they're normal people too. If I didn't have a VTuber model and stuff, I'm still a normal person. Well,
yeah,
I'm just a normal person regardless. Like it's not, I'm not, I don't think I'm of any special label just because I'm a VTuber. And like even if I ever like got up like really big like and I like had like maybe over 1,000 followers, I still wouldn't sit there and think any less of people. I would be like, oh, you want to play a game? Sure, let's play together. Come on, let's go. Let's good it.
yeah.
Like, it's just like whatever. Like,
Yeah, it's like I think I guess probably one of the biggest sort of duos that you see of like IRL and VTuber collab is
and
probably
I know what you're going to say. You're
yes,
going to
yeah.
say
Yeah.
Iron Mouse and Sea Dog.
Yes, you see that combination all the time, and it's like, and it's such a good combination. It's just like, the dynamics just work. And at first I was gonna think, oh, this is gonna be really a bizarre collab, because I was thinking, how's the chemistry gonna work? How's I guess the so-called immersion going to be different? And I'm like, it's not different at all. It's still, it's just, there's no immersion breaking. I don't see how people would be like, oh, it's gonna ruin my immersion of VTubers. It's like just look at it as two streamers collabing. Doesn't matter whether you're a VTuber or an IRL streamer or whatever you are. Like it's a
Props of the people who've been watching Hatsune Miku for years.
yeah, yeah. It's like
like
it's
actually though, like props to them because they probably have seen some pretty weird combinations over the years if they've like watched her like live shows and stuff. Like people are like going to like live Hatsune Miku concerts, and it's like, wait, you mean she's she's digital? How did how they do that? How they do that?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
but
It's
yeah, seriously, it's like props to them. So they probably they're already used to this. So I bet you when they were like sitting there, I bet you all those Hatsune Miku fans when they were like sitting there seeing like Iron Mouse and Connor, they're just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm used to this. Like I watch
yeah,
Hatsune Miku concerts. Like oh
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, it's like, but yeah, it's like, it's probably one of the dynamics in stream collabs that people have probably were really sort of unsure on at first, because it seemed a bit different. But once you sort of watch it, it just feels natural. It's like, it just feels natural, and like just watching them two like just sort of poke fun at each other sometimes. It's hilarious, and it's always been fun watching when I get the chance just to watch the stream clips, seeing those two like interact. And I think there was an interesting clip the other day where it was Sea Dog and Iron Mouse doing their Anime Expo panel, and I saw I saw Sea Dog get like finally get hit with the D's nuts sort of joke, which was just so hilarious, because Connor was just there, and he was just like what? But it was just priceless to watch. But
I actually remember the first stream I saw you on, like, finally, when I first ever. The only reason I, like, learned of you is because of, like, Moe and stuff, and so
yeah,
whenever I saw you two, like, collabing on Minecraft together, I thought, oh, that's adorable, because, like, she gets all gushy with you, and you, like, get all, like, soft on her and stuff, and it's like really cute. I was like, oh, this is so cute. Like, I could, like, I like ship it and stuff, but that's also, I mean, you also even have it like on your Twitter and stuff, like,
yeah.
like you're all cheesy with that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad, like, I'm like super glad. So I would actually really love to see more stuff between you two, but I wouldn't want to see you like be like a VTuber when you're like with her. I'd rather like actually see your IRL
Ah.
self, because you're quite handsome and stuff. Like, you're quite handsome, and you're sitting there and making like a VTuber all blushy and stuff. You're making Moe all blushy. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, like, I'll give you like a big hug or something, and then imagine like seeing like some really nice facial hair and stuff, and it's like, oh, what a dreamboat, like that. Like, it's like, like,
Oh
people
god.
would like people would eat that up. People would like eat that up and stuff. It'd be like pretty funny and pretty cute. It would just be like a good wholesome dynamic. But like, you two just kind of mesh well together. So it was really nice to see that. Like, even if I was like, like, I was like so long ago, like, I would love to see
Yeah.
that again. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't know what to say. But yeah. So yeah, I think it's like I think we've definitely been wanting to do some kind of collab again, hopefully soon. But yeah, it's like I think we will be talking about potentially a Team Cola podcast episode, maybe at one point, and who knows, maybe I might be IRL for that, possibly. Who knows? But yeah, like it's actually there is actually a really interesting backstory, I think, to how me and Mo ended up collabing. It's quite interesting because it was kind of bizarre, I will admit. Like we it's like I ended up finding her through my Twitter recommended, and I saw like a particular post in the recommended. It was like some art of Mo, and like I don't know who else was in it. I can't really remember, but it was like I think it was like a really I don't know if it was like a beach style artwork or something, but yeah. So I ended up liking one of her posts and followed her, and then because at the time on my Twitter I had like I was open to collabs and stuff. I put on my Twitter bio that I'm open to collabs and stuff.
Hmm.
Mo ended up messaging me and was like, hey, do you want to collab and stuff? And at first I was thinking, wait, like who's this? Like what? No one's asked me to collab before, like just out of the blue. And at first I was like, do I go through with this? Like I don't know who you are really, but like, but then I was like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like I'll just do it. So I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, we can collab. Like we can play Minecraft or something together, and then yeah, it happened. But yeah, and then we sort of tried for a while. We sort of tried to talk more and stuff because, like, obviously, big time zone difference. We couldn't really talk a lot, and we sort of tried to, at certain points, just like exchange times that we could just basically call and hang out, and yeah. But but yeah, like I think a lot of people know, like Mo has been pretty busy in recent times,
Hmm.
so just trying to be able to, I guess, talk and hang out and stuff. Sometimes it's just not been easy, but hopefully there will be some kind of collab or some kind of thing we'll do in the next maybe few months or something. Like I'm
I sure
definitely up for
hope. I
something.
sure hope so.
Yeah, I'm definitely up for some kind of collabs. But yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm sort of losing track of what I'm I guess trying to think of what the next thing we could talk about is. But
We could talk about anything.
Yeah, it's like we talked about like just I guess VTubing. We talked a bit about the backstory, I guess, of me and Mo hanging out and collabing and how it connects into everything here. Um,
I will start our next topic, and
all
you're
right.
not going to like how I'm going to start this. Sonic Frontiers is
Oh.
shit.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so obviously, okay. A lot of people probably have seen a lot of people have probably
Oh, hi there,
seen
Gary.
oh, there's Gary. Howdy. Yeah. So a lot of people have seen. Obviously, there's been a lot of information about Sonic Frontiers that's been thrown out there, and the IGN sort of showcase over the month. I will say this about the IGN's showcase: like, why the hell did Sega go through with that? That that.
Because Sega doesn't understand. Sega doesn't understand how to make games. Like let's be real. Like
Yeah.
I always sit there and go back to like that JonTron video back in the day, like where like he was like sitting there and like I think he was ranting about Sonic R, and
Oh.
he was just like, "Hello, welcome to Sonic Team. We make games. I think. Hey, right." And then the guy's like, "What the fuck is a Sonic?" And it's like that's that's it. Like that
Yeah.
is actually it, and that still holds true even today. What the fuck is a Sonic?
Oh
We don't
yeah.
know. Like, are we thinking of like the fast food place Sonic, or are we like thinking about Sonic the Hedgehog? Like,
Yeah.
like I don't even have any beef against Sonic the Hedgehog. I unironically like pretty much a lot of Sonic games. Like,
Hmm.
I just haven't touched Sonic Forces. Like that's like
Oh
probably like
yeah.
the one Sonic game I haven't touched. Like
Yeah.
I have played most of the. I even played the humble origins of Final Fantasy Sonic X. You go on to like you go on to Newgrounds and you play Final Fantasy Sonic X. Like
Oh god.
you're sitting there and playing that, or the Sonic RPG. Like that was also another Flash game. I even played the Sonic Character Creator.
Ah yeah.
I like Sonic. I like the stupid games. I like the trashy games. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I even played. I was so invested in Sonic. I played some stupid hentai flash game called Sonic the Pervert, where
Oh
you
no.
like break off clothing and stuff, and you like kill Eggman or something by shattering him into millions of glass pieces or something. So
Oh
I
wow.
I, I know what I've played. I know what
Yeah.
I've played. Like, don't get me wrong. I know what I'm doing and stuff.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play it because it's Sonic. You slap the
Yeah.
Sonic label onto it, and I'm like, oh boy,
So
I'm
oh
I'm
boy, let's
clicking
go.
that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, let's go. But like I just haven't sat there and wanted to buy Sonic Forces because I don't like playing really short games, and I
Yeah.
heard that it's relatively short, and so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like, oh no, sorry, no money spent here. Like even if I did have money, I'd probably buy groceries, but no money spent here. But like
Yeah.
my favorite Sonic games, are literally like it's Sonic Unleashed, it's
Hmm.
Sonic CD, and I really I like sit there and switch it up. Normally, I would have said Sonic Heroes, but I really love Sonic Riders. These
Oh
are
yeah.
like my favorite Sonic games right here. Sonic Unleashed was just so good to me. I don't care if people are like, "Where Hedgehog bad." I don't care. I like platforming games, and that was proper platforming. It
Yeah.
made I feel like it made a bit more sense than like if you play Sonic 06 and Shadow is driving a vehicle and stuff. It made much more sense than any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
think yeah, Sonic Unleashed at first, when it first came out in the franchise, like a lot of people were not as fond of it, but over time people have grown much more fond of Sonic Unleashed. And I think a lot of people have realized like that Sonic Unleashed was probably one of Sonic's most quality games. It was definitely one of the most quality games in the franchise because it's like one, it had a really high budget for a Sonic game. Two, you could tell that the team actually had some passion behind the game because Sega basically told them at the time, "Hey, make this Sonic game as though it was the last Sonic game you had to make." And bam, there's Sonic Unleashed. It was basically a game that was meant to be a love letter to the franchise, saying, "Hey, we stuffed up with Sonic 06, but we're coming back and we're giving you this."
You
And
know, the funny part about it is too is like how many different versions that Sonic Unleashed has. Like since you're sitting there mentioning like make this as if it's like the last Sonic game you have to make. Like
yeah,
they had so many versions because there was like I think like a Flash version of Sonic Unleashed.
yeah,
Then there is the PlayStation 2 and Wii versions, which are significantly different
yeah.
when you compare the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions. And I don't even know which version's the best. I was like sitting there thinking like,
Hmm.
damn, I'd really want to play Sonic Unleashed again, but it's not on PC. So I like downloaded an emulator, and the PS3 emulator that I was using could not handle the speed, the Lord
Oh
of Speed,
yeah.
the Master of Faster. So I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah, it's like, hey Sega, maybe you might want to make a PC version of Sonic Unleashed. Just saying. Just saying. I think a lot of people would like that. Who cares
I
what the
would
critics
like it.
think?
I would like it. It's like one of my favorite Sonic games.
Yeah, it's like
I want it so
who cares what the
badly.
critics think? Like just do it. Just bloody make a PC version already. A lot of Sonic fans have been wanting Sonic Unleashed on PC for years. And imagine the mod capabilities of the game. Like there'd be so many modding possibilities. Like the mod community would go crazy. Like you could then have Knuckles in the Werehog stages. That would be freaking cool. But yeah, like for me, I think Unleashed, like I really love the daytime stages in Unleashed. Like I'm not as fond on the Werehog as probably like some people are. Like some people really love it, some people hate it. I don't hate it. I think it's just that the Werehog levels to me just feel a bit too long and dragged out. But I do like the concept and the idea though. And I think that will sort of eventually touch into, I guess, what some people are talking about with Frontiers, like with the combat. But yeah, like Unleashed had like a lot of passion behind it. It had like this really cool story idea for like the Werehog to exist and like Dark Gaia and Light Gaia. It had really cool sort of traditional Sonic sort of ideas. And obviously the music is banger. Like the music is absolute fire in Unleashed. Like that bloody theme song is just catchy as hell.
It
Unfortunately,
is really good.
unfortunately no Crush 40, but still, hey, still really really top tier music in the franchise. No matter whether it's Crush 40 or not. But yeah, it's like Unleashed is probably I'd say one of my more I sort of lean as, yeah, it could be one of my favorites. Like maybe if I spent more time with the game, it could definitely be much more one of my favorites. But in the franchise, I have the only I think I'm not really that much of a completionist, so I can't really say for certain, I guess, everything about Sonic, but I have played pretty much nearly every game in the franchise, I would think. At least in the main series. And I did play Forces. I did get that day one. Uh, but I will say this about Forces. It's one of those games that, yes, it is very short. And I do sometimes wonder what the hell was Sega doing with their time making Forces, which got explained later on by lots of speculative sources. A lot of them were saying that Sega apparently worked 3 years on the engine for Sonic Forces and 1 year on the actual game. And I'm just like, yep, that's Sega for you. That's what they do. They don't know how to time manage. Like, yeah, okay, making your engine, okay, cool, but why change up the engine when you could have just used Hedgehog Engine 1 and made Forces, it wouldn't have been that much difference. There wouldn't have been that much difference. You could have worked on Hedgehog Engine 2 like whenever else. But Sonic Forces, like, it had some cool ideas. It had some really cool ideas. Like, I think it wanted to be this game that tried to capture like the adventure fans, because a lot of the adventure fans have been yearning for like that sort of more darker story, which is something I would have liked in the game. And then it tried to capture like the Boost fans as well of Unleashed. It tried to do too much. It tried to put all the eggs in one basket, and that didn't work because one, it executed things quite poorly compared to other games. Like the Boost gameplay in Forces is way inferior to even Colors and Generations, and
Ooh.
it's inferior in that sort of regard. Two, the story was half baked because, like, hey, Infinite was a cool villain. I was like really sold on Infinite as a character because you had the voice actor for Gara voice acting Infinite, and I was like, oh, this sounds really freaking good. And I was going, this is going to be so awesome. This is going to be a game that you can like fight Infinite. He's going to be a really cool villain. The bloody soundtrack is banger, and the Forces soundtrack in the end result, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good soundtrack because you come to expect pretty good soundtracks from Sonic games, even if they're
Oh yeah,
bad.
I've listened to the Forces soundtrack. It is pretty good.
The only thing I don't like is just I think Forces tried like because it tried so many different things and put it all into one basket. You had classic Sonic and Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant again. And Frontiers, why seriously, why are you bloody bringing back all those stages again? Like, it's like it just kind of the biggest issues with Front Forces in general is it half baked a lot of its cool ideas. Granted, the custom character creation is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty well fleshed out. So I give Sega props on finally giving fans able being well the ability to be able to just create their own character. But if there was more time in the oven for Forces, it could have been just that little bit better. You could have had more stages, you could have had a longer game running time. It could have been much better. And there's a lot of rumors now saying that Forces is actually never meant to come out. Like, Forces was actually not meant to have been a thing. But I don't know. I don't know whether to believe the rumors, but some are saying that it was just kind of rushed out because, oh, there's not been a main series Sonic game for so long, and they were potentially working on adventure remakes, and that got scrapped. And I wonder why that got scrapped. I wonder why.
At this point, I'm just in disbelief at like what's even going on in the background of like Sonic games because
Oh yeah.
I feel like you know, um, I was talking with my friend Ina, and he was sitting there saying like, like, oh wow, I can't wait for Sonic Origins to come out because they can't fuck this up. How do you fuck up a game that's already been made? Also, them fucks up game that's already been made.
Yeah, I mean, I played the Origin remakes. Like I've played through most of it. It's, I would say this. It's not bad, but it could have been. It could have been a lot better. Like apparently,
Did you
even
see Did you see the whole thread on like on the team that was working on it and how they were talking about how they were so upset because they got rushed?
oh yeah, yeah. Like yeah, you had the team that I think were working on the Sonic 3 part of it because basically Sonic 1 CD and Sonic 2 had already been pretty much done because Christian Whitehead ports. But but then the Sonic 3 remake sort of dev team basically had to rush in a bunch of stuff and they wanted more time. They said, "Hey, like we've got like we've got everything nearly done. We can only send off like whatever's basically been done, and then hope that Sega will allow them to patch it. And let's see. I don't think Sega will ever go back to Origins. It'll just be dead after. It's just gonna be dead after. They're just gonna just leave it and go, yep, that's done now. It's like they're not gonna go back and patch it. I don't think they will. But there was definitely a lot of cool ideas with Origins, and it looks like the team behind it had passion. But Sega themselves being like, oh, we want this out on Sonic's birthday. Let's have it ready. Let's have it done and move on. It was just one of those sorts of things where they're just like, yeah, they didn't care enough to. Which is it's Sega for you. Like Sega's always like super inconsistent. Like at one moment they're really good with something, like say Sonic Mania. The other moment they're just basically falling on their ass.
Yeah,
So,
Sonic Mania is fantastic. Even if I suck at Sonic Mania and can
oh
barely
yeah,
play it, like it's funny to me that I sit there and say, "Wow, I really want Sonic games to be fast," but then I suck at them. Like when I'm
yeah,
playing, I hit all the walls. Like I'm not like a speed runner. I just like going fast. Like,
oh
hey,
yeah,
like just let me go fast. But I definitely suck at Sonic games. Like I can't adapt at all. And
yeah.
like the speed inside that is different in comparison to like I've been playing Neon White recently and I've been streaming that and
Hmm.
I have to go pretty fast and solve the levels and do puzzle and platforming and I am pretty quick at it. I'm pretty quick to like adjust to it and adapt, but I'm sitting here playing Sonic and like even if the level takes like the level is like, oh yeah, if you clear it like in like a minute and like 40 seconds and it's just like like you could get like like S, like like S rank, and I'm like, oh awesome.
Hmm.
Me dashes once and crashes into wall and then falls off ledge. Yeah,
It's like, yeah, this.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think I guess with my history with Sonic, it's like I think one of the first collections I played, I think might have been the Mega Collection on GameCube. I think that was when I first really got in touch with Sonic. And I don't really have much memories of those days because that was like when I was like 5 years old. So I don't really remember much of the GameCube and my time with the GameCube. I just remember like playing like Mario Sunshine and stuff and Animal Crossing more. But then once I got into the PS2, I got the Sonic Gems collection. And that's when I really started like trying to get into Sonic a bit. And I played I played Sonic Unleashed on the PS2 as well. And I played Sonic CD a lot. But I always got frustrated in Sonic CD because I would probably get to basically the level where you end up having to like where Amy gets captured. I'd always get stuck there as a kid. I'd be like, how do I do this? How do I get through this level? And I just had so many frustrating memories with Sonic CD. But
Yeah. These games can be frustrating at times, that's for sure.
yeah, so so for a while I kind of gave up on 2D Sonic. Like I would play the Game Gear games because they had the Game Gear games on the Gems collection a little bit. So I would enjoy those. Um, but then I think my main Sonic game that really got me into the franchise was watching I was watching a Sonic YouTuber back in the day, and probably one of the biggest Sonic YouTube creators at the time, and until he quit basically, or he sort of quit, but he had a lot of mental health problems and stuff. Which I think a lot of Sonic fans will remember Cabana Money 456. Like I watched his videos a lot back in the day, and I watched him play Sonic Generations, and I picked up Sonic Generations because of that. And I played Generations. I loved playing Sonic Generations. And then it kind of got me wanting to branch more into Sonic a lot more. And also just like hearing the Crush 40 soundtracks, I was like, oh man, this is so good. Like this is the good stuff. So then Sonic Adventure 2 I started playing, and Sonic Adventure, and then I collected like Sonic Heroes and Sonic 06. And I mean, looking at Sonic 06, I mean, like a lot of people bashed it really, really heavily back in the day. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of people now that I guess have a lot more appreciation for 06 than back then. Like
I
maybe
think it's because I mean I think that's because of like like the the real time fan dubs of like Sonic 06. If you
oh
watch
yeah, the
like the
Sonic
real
06
time
fan
fan
dub is
dubs,
freaking hilarious.
yeah, um, yeah. I mean if you watch that, but also because they did the whole like Sonic 06 remake and stuff, and
Oh
honestly,
yeah, and it's so
like
good.
with that remake that was done that was like spearheaded by the fans, like it's like really solid. It plays
Yeah.
incredibly well, and like it improved upon a lot of like little game breaking features that you might have experienced when you play Sonic 06 back in the day. So
Yeah.
being able to fix that and just actually give life to this game, it's like, oh yes, this actually could have been a really good game, but it
Yeah.
was shoddily made. But now that it's like been improved upon, people are like, you know what, damn, I actually quite like this joint kind of popped off, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's like I think like Sonic 06 it had I think it's been said a lot by many fans. It's like it had a lot of potential. Like it could have been that sort of pseudo Sonic Adventure 3 almost if it was actually done right. But that didn't happen. And funny enough in Sonic Unleashed's development, it was originally started off as potentially Sonic Adventure 3 in early development. But then they changed up their ideas. They wanted to change the formula of Sonic, which led to the boost formula, and it just became something completely different. Like originally there was rumors that Knuckles and Shadow were going to be playable in Unleashed, but that didn't happen. I mean, it would
That
have
would
been
have been enjoyable.
that would have been really enjoyable. Like I think Shadow would have been probably one of the easier characters to just implement into Unleash because like you would have had like the boost gameplay. It would have just been Shadow but boost gameplay, and I think it would have been interesting to see Shadow's take on like the light Gaia, dark Gaia situation and all that sort of stuff. It would have been weird, but I think Shadow could have been put into the plot somehow. So
I
yeah,
mean, honestly, same for like Knuckles, for instance. Like, I think Knuckles would have been an interesting element if like you incorporated him into Sonic Unleashed, because
hmm.
like the Were Hedgehog levels are literally platforming and like beating enemies up, and I think like, oh, what better than to like what better than to put Knuckles here?
Yeah. Like if you had like the objective could have been something instead of like obviously in Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2 you had the treasure hunting. Instead you could have had Knuckles just have an objective of like get to I don't know, get to this piece of the Master Emerald or get to this particular thing like and
I,
it
I don't I don't really know in like getting to the piece of a Master Emerald, but like the literal world, like the Earth, the planet was literally split into like
yeah.
like there was a crack in the Earth, and like he's supposed to be like the protector of like the Master Emerald. He's like supposed to preserve like I guess like in some kind of sense he's supposed to use like whatever power he can to protect like the place where the Master Emerald would be stationed, and like
Yeah.
I mean if he's on a floating island that is on Earth, but if Earth is gone, then what does he have? How can he protect the Master Emerald? So like,
Yeah.
he would have had his objective. There would have been an objective there. It's just that they didn't add it. Like, like there's a lot of things that could have been done. Like, I
Yeah.
just feel like they spent too much time sidelining any characters in Sonic. Like they're
Yeah.
making Sonic the focus. And like I don't know, like mm, I mean, I guess like playing like a Sonic game and like going fast. It's like it's nice and stuff, but I like Sonic at the end of the day is a platforming game. And so
Yeah.
playing having other characters and having their own dynamic level like structure would be fairly unique. I mean, you got it inside, Sonic Adventure, you got it
Yeah.
in Sonic Adventure 2, you got it in Sonic Heroes especially. Like Sonic Heroes was definitely a layered piece of a game. Like that was
Yeah.
that was very it was very inviting. It was very refreshing in its own right too. But I don't even know where I want Sonic to go. I like fast
Hmm.
gameplay. I like Sonic Mania, but I also like the gameplay of like Sonic Adventure 2 and stuff. I kind of
Yeah.
like that. I like Sonic Heroes even, but I just don't know where to like go. Like I don't know what I want. Like it's just like what do I even want out of a Sonic game these days? And like
Hmm.
open world Sonic, like is just like open world doesn't exactly scream like always like a good game design for me because like I specifically had a lot of gripes of like Elden Ring when it like first launched because it's my first From Software game. I've never played Dark Souls or anything, but
Yeah.
I heard that even though like the other Dark Souls games exist, it's a linear open world experience. It's a linear open world.
Hmm.
Linear open world isn't bad. I don't think it's a bad design. But Elden Ring, boasted itself as being open world, and they're sitting here and they're like trying to send you on a straight path. But just even trying to go through the straight path, you miss so much of the story and potentially main story elements that are in Elden Ring. And
Hmm.
it's like I don't like that sort of structure. That like people are like, you could just follow the main story, and it's just like, okay, but you could still get lost because you wouldn't know the context for a lot of things if you just
Yeah.
went and did the main story because they put some things on like the offbeat like the off beaten path, like I almost missed like inside Elden Ring. I almost missed like a good chunk of almost Ronnie the Witch's storyline. I almost missed like that, and it's like holy crap, that was so easily missable if I didn't do things the right way.
Yeah.
And there are so many things that happened that I just didn't understand because of the order in which I had done things inside Elden Ring. And so like open world games like that, like that's very faulty to me. Like I shouldn't have to sit here and try to map out what I'm gonna do first just because the game is like, oh yeah, if you do this, then then you're not gonna see this scene. Like there were things that were so bugged out on Elden Ring. Like I did like a stage basically, like I did like one of the areas, and then when I came back the to the area later but through the front pathway, like all of a sudden when I went into this one section of it, there were two bosses there, and I was like, wait, these bosses were not here the seven other times I came to this area. Why are
Hmm.
they here now? And I missed them. Like they were completely missable bosses even though they weren't supposed to be missable. And I was like, "Oh boy, what is going on?"
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But like it's like open world like that is like that's where I get irritated. Like I get irritated by that kind of open world. And as much as I love like something like Breath of the Wild had like a lot of stuff to do, and it had like living, breathing characters that you could do side quests for. It
hmm.
had villagers, it had people you could interact with. It had such a good experience. I mean, like one of the most unique interactions that people had like with Breath of the Wild is like that one dude who like tells you not to jump off a bridge, for instance, because like yeah. And that is very specific because that's what that's referring to essentially. But
Yeah.
it's like that one dude is like telling you not to jump off of a bridge. Like that's a unique interaction. And then I look at like Sonic Frontiers right now, and they're like open world Sonic game, and then you don't see any characters. You see these like alien like character designs for the enemies, and I
Hmm.
mean, not I'm not saying that they're like the worst that I've seen or anything, but like it's an open world Sonic game. The world almost looks like it was made in Halo Reach Forge. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and like you could have like really good gameplay for it, but it's not gonna eliminate the fact that this open world is very empty. And like even if you attempt to fill it up, there's still probably not gonna be any characters. Like who are they gonna introduce? Are they gonna introduce like are they gonna introduce like oh they're gonna introduce like chows or something? Like okay, yeah, you could do that. You could give me like a chow garden, but are those characters? Like are you gonna
Yeah,
put like are you gonna put like who are you gonna put like in this corner? You're gonna put like Knuckles and then just only Knuckles? Like, ah yes, Knuckles is standing at that lone tower over there in this really wide open area. It's like, what are you gonna do?
yeah,
Like, you can't fill the world with characters because it's so like I don't know, like what are you gonna do? Like we're not in the big city, and it's not like they ever sit there and add like characters from like I don't know, like you know, like the Sonic comics or anything. So we're kind of just sitting here like staring at the screen, like, yes, this world is full of things to do.
yeah,
Yes, I love the randomly placed like platforms that look like they're from Halo Reach Forge. Like I don't even know what I'm supposed to want. Like I don't know what I want. I don't know what is supposed to be good. It's just like I just
yeah,
could would have preferred like I guess I just would have preferred like a linear open world experience. Like don't make the world this big or anything. Like you know Sonic can run around and do stuff, but it's like it's empty. Like it's empty.
yeah,
Like everybody complained about Breath of the Wild for being empty, but it's like, but that's not empty. There's so much that is like there. It has like density in its world. Like there is density in its world. It's just that in some areas more than others inside Breath of the Wild, it feels empty in some areas. Like especially the desert area. The desert area
yeah,
actually did feel empty inside Breath of the Wild, but like there's just like a big difference, like you know, like when you have like an open world, like you want to fill it up with things, you want to make sure that like there's something new around every corner, and you know Elden Ring at least offered that up, and you know Breath of the Wild offered that for the most part, and there's like other games, like you know, like even like Grand Theft Auto, for instance, is an open world game, and
yeah.
you know that offers up something new around every corner too. I mean, there was even the whole like in like GTA 5, there was like a whole Illuminati like plot line that you could stumble upon, and it had so many like layers to it. It was so interesting.
Hmm.
But you know, like it's unfair to compare Sonic to these types of open world games because this is like their first attempt at doing like I guess a Sonic open world game, but all the same, they should take notes from other games.
Yeah, like some are speculating that Sonic Frontiers feels more like I think some are saying it feels more like Super Mario 3D World and how they tackled stuff. And I mean, I haven't played a lot of Super Mario 3D World, so I can't really make the comparison myself. But if Sonic Frontiers does like have stuff that it offers, like I know that apparently there's gonna be a fishing mission with Big the Cat, and I'm just like, okay, so they're bringing Big the Cat back, but why is he here? Like, what purpose does he serve to the main plot of Frontiers? And like just in general, like what are these characters doing here? Because okay, yeah, we have Ian Flynn like writing the dialogue for Frontiers, so I can't wait to see how he tackles a Sonic story compared to the last 10 years of like pretty I will admit really average if not bad Sonic stories, at least in terms of the dialogue. But so I can't wait to see what Ian Flynn does because I'm excited to see how he just in general tackles story writing. But I feel like at least some things in Frontiers, less so in the gameplay direction, but more in the presentation and the story and the music direction and all that sort of stuff, those areas seem like they're completely solid. Everything looks like they're going to be completely solid in those areas, which is a good thing. But what I want to see is I want to see the gameplay more. I want to see like because there's apparently 4 islands according to the rumors. There's 4 islands to explore, and we've only just seen not even the full one. So okay, that's interesting to know. We also do have the cyberspace levels, which are apparently just normal sort of linear boost levels that you can go to, and you can get like portal gears to unlock those stages, and then you get keys and all that sort of stuff. So that's interesting, but we need to see more. Like that's the one thing I think that Sega needs to really focus on is showing us more of what this game is, showing us more of what missions there are, what's the objectives, how do you traverse the world and keep on the story path and not miss too much of what's going on. Because I don't want to walk into this game and go, okay, what do I do now? Like I want to go, okay, what's your objective with this game? And how do I follow that path but still get to traverse the open world and find all the cool extra stuff to do as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be easy enough to follow but still make you curious to kind of want to look around and still be able to get back on the story path as quick as
Oh
possible.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I would like that too. Like, I'm not exactly against open world Sonic, but I'm just like not for like their approach to it because of what they're showcasing. Like,
Yeah.
like I would hate this like cuz the reason why is I hate I hate like reviews for instance. I
Hmm.
don't like to sit there and look at like reviews for things because like, oh, this review says this and that and this review says that. I like to form my own opinion,
Yeah.
but I don't have money to spare on like big releases, and like God knows
Hmm.
that whenever Sonic releases, like, will it be a $60 game or will it be $70? Because like they're hiking up prices for things, and
Yeah.
so it's like I don't want to spend like $70 on like or $60 on an empty game. I don't want to spend it on an empty
Yeah.
game. Like I need it to have some substance. I need it to have something that is going to grab me inside of it. I just
Yeah.
hate wasting like money. I don't want to do it. It's like, please give me something. Just give me like just Sega. Like just toss me a bone here. Just show me that the world is more than just like an open world for him to just run around with a bunch of rails
Yeah.
inside of it.
Yeah.
Please, just
See,
show me a little more.
yeah, see, I think that Sonic Frontiers, like the marketing, whoever's in charge of the marketing at Sega, can you please just get your act together? Because it's like
Yeah, like
when this
please.
when this like got shown, like okay, we got teased this game in like May last year. We got teased like that there was a new game. And then at the Game Awards, we got shown this little snippet of Sonic in an open world, and they showed an in-engine sort of shot of how it's got a day and night cycle. Okay, that's cool. Oh, it's got like these cool little bits and pieces. Like, yeah, that's cool and all. But it's like I want to see the substance. I want to see like, and then you come out and you just with no real explanation go, oh here, IGN's going to show you like 7 minutes of just Sonic roaming the open world, and I'm just like, yeah, but first of all, why is he there? Two, uh, why no explanation in general about what this game is about? Like they done it like all the wrong way around. It's like they should have shown us a bit of the story premise first of what Sonic's doing in this world, and then show us like give us like a little 20-minute video of showing us the start of the game, because you've got all this substance. You're saying it's a 30 to 40 hour game at possibly up to 40 hours depending on circumstances, but they're saying about a 30-hour game. So I want to see, how is it a 30-hour game? I wanted to see what content is there to make this a 30-hour game. Okay, the cyberspace stages apparently allow you to have different challenges. So you have like 5 or 4 different objectives per cyberspace stage. But question is, how many cyberspace stages are there? Like how many of those are we going to get? And also, why are we going back to old locations like for the 30 30th time? Like it's like it's like I don't mind reusing old locations, especially if it's because of plot reasons and for Sonic to like say regain his memories or whatever. But at least make them different enough. Make them like they're jumbled around like in his memories, like mixing Green Hill Zone with different locations and make it just jumbled up so it's not the same sort of thing over and over. Like we don't want to see Green Hill Zone for like the 50th time because we've seen that enough. Like why not have some different old locations that Sonic could go to, like Sonic Unleashed? Like why not have him go back to Adabat or something and running in Adabat in Frontiers? That would be a really cool location to bring back.
Yeah, yeah.
Or even like
Oh,
just have like
it's
everything jumbled around so that Sonic is like playing something in his memories that is not the same. Like maybe false memories, possibly. I don't know. Make it interesting.
I just don't think that they have a good handle on what they want to do. Like, like it's
Yeah.
just one of those things. Like, there's not much else that could really be said about Sonic Frontiers as of right now because they haven't even like really given us much to go off of. Like, like at this point it's like the music is solid, like the engine seems solid enough. The combat does seem better than what they first showcased because I didn't like the first combat trailer, but it looks fine, like it looks fine. So overall gameplay seems fine, but animations still seem a little bit weird in some
Yeah.
aspects, and um I just have an issue because I always sit there and feel like what type of voice acting are we gonna get in a game? Like
Oh
they
yeah.
haven't showcased like anything. Like it just the world seems so barren right now, and it just makes you wonder, is there gonna be any like real top notch voice acting, or are they
Hmm.
gonna take the easy way out, or are they just gonna like do like tech stuff, like when he meets like Big the
Yeah.
Cat, is he not gonna be like big, or is he just gonna be like
Yeah, yeah. See,
it's like I just don't like I just hate when like like a game could definitely have voice acting, but then they just rely on just only doing like flavor text, and
hmm.
that's all that they do. And you know um, and then my other thing that I'm just like kind of bothered with is just the open world right now. Like I'm just bothered with
Hmm.
like the open world. Just like show us a little bit more. Like give us like give the world some density. Like give it some life, and that's it. Like it'll be easy for me. Like I'll probably still enjoy myself because it's a Sonic game, but I just I just don't feel like purchasing it like right off the bat or anything. It's like it'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll wait for this game to go on sale. Like I'll wait for this game to go on sale or something and buy it because this was apparently like a letdown.
Yeah, it's like what I really want to see is like I know that at least the reviewers so far have come in and sort of said, "Oh, like yeah, this looks pretty good. Like it looks like it's a bit rough around the edges, but it looks like it could be really good." And I'm just like, "Okay, yeah, but if Sega just like at least if Sega just came out and gave us like a 10 to 15-minute video explaining stuff like what the missions are in Frontiers and just kind of filled us in on some of these details and to show us that the world's not barren, I would go, yeah, okay. It looks like there might be some substance here. There might be some stuff that's worth doing. Like I know there's like these characters called like the Cocos or something, and they're like sort of basically similar to Chow apparently, and like you have stuff to do with them, and then you can also collect like hearts for Amy, which helps the Cocos and stuff. Like that's interesting and all, but why haven't we seen that yet? Like why are we not
Yeah,
being shown that?
yeah, like show that to me or something. Like like I understand that they're still developing the game, but just please just show me a little bit. Like throw me a bone or something.
Yeah,
Like I understand game development is not easy. I'm not sitting there and like undermining them, but like please. Just
Yeah,
show me
just show
something.
us something. It's like we've barely seen the cyberspace levels at all. Like we got that little Nintendo Switch sort of version trailer that showed like 5 seconds of cyberspace gameplay to go off, and I'm just like, okay, cool. You've lifted the embargo on talking about cyberspace, but now show us cyberspace. Show us cyberspace. Show us these different particular little things in the open world that we can do. Just give us some
Yeah.
ideas. Just give us stuff to go off. Like I wanna hear more of that banging soundtrack. I wanna see more of the story development. Like I know Ian Flynn's been pretty sort of low key about the story because he wants to surprise us with the story. Because the one thing he said on his podcast, when someone asked him if it's going to be like as dark as Sonic Adventure 2 and all that sort of stuff, he said, he literally said, play Sonic Frontiers and get back to me. And I'm just like, okay, like, I know you're being a little bit smart, and also you probably can't tell us too much because of NDAs and stuff, but at least give us a bit of room to kind of go, okay, what sort of story are we expecting? Like, are we expecting something that's in depth, like the Adventure Days, or even like just a good pen story in general compared to like the last like few Sonic games where the stories have been relatively lackluster? I want to hear like Roger Craig Smith's Sonic in this more potentially mysterious tone to the story, because I want to see what Roger Craig Smith sounds like as Sonic in this game compared to his last few games, because I reckon the voice actors could do a really good job, but the last games have not really shown their best potential. They sound good,
Hmm.
but they sound more one-dimensional in those last games. So I want to see Sonic have more emotions, more stuff going on where he's like not like literally saying like, oh shit, I'm trapped, but I want to like hear him say stuff like, oh, like I want him to have emotion in his voice and be like, where's Tails, where's Amy, like where am I, sort of thing, what's going on. Like give us more emotion, more depth to his character, and just give us some surprises as well. Like hell, if Shadow was in the game, it would be cool to see what he does, and maybe we could play as him. That would be a cool idea. Like just
Oh yeah.
because Shadow would work really interestingly in a game like this as well. Like Shadow would be
Yeah.
mysterious, and maybe he'd be the type to investigate what's going on.
That's for sure, but yeah, like, like they just haven't showcased anything, but what can you do? Sega, like I just don't think really Sega knows what they're doing. I mean, like,
Yeah.
the director of Yakuza has left Sega, so
Oh
like we're
yeah.
probably would like so like like I don't think Sega's gonna have much of the reins on Yakuza now, and like that's like that was like their best fame basically.
Yeah.
The Yakuza franchise, that right there was their best fame, and now that's probably gonna be disappearing from their like roster. It's like, well,
Yeah.
Sega does not make good games now because the only good game was Yakuza, and he left the studio. So it's like,
Yeah.
bye
Yeah.
later,
I
and
remember.
uh. And PSO2 absolutely sucks. Like it sucks. Like this game is
Hmm.
what's been keeping them alive is not even PSO2. It's like some mobile game with Hatsune Miku. I think it's
Oh yeah.
Project Sekai or something.
Yeah.
Like that's what's keeping them alive. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Sega in general just needs like like it needs a shift in the management. It's like they need a shift in the management. They need like the younger talent to be able to really sort of come in and take the reins a bit more with certain franchises, and they need to like go around on like a bit of a hiring blitz and kind of go, okay, we want some of these people, because what you tend to see a lot, especially with Sonic Team, is a lot of people leave Sonic Team and they end up developing like really good games with other companies. Like some of them went to Nintendo, worked on like 3D World, some of them worked on Odyssey, and you sort of go, man, like if those names were still in Sega working on Sonic games and stuff, we'd be having a much better time. but it's the management that needs to kind of open their eyes a little bit and kind of go, oh, maybe we should let these people take the reins a bit more with what they're doing. And I feel like Sonic Frontiers, as much as like, yeah, you still have Izuka in the scene, and he's kind of there as like the creative officer. Like he seems to have taken a step back and is kind of saying, "Hey, as much like Kishimoto, you can now take the directing sort of lead, and we have another producer. Like, okay, cool. There's a bit of a shift in Sonic Team with who's running the show a little bit, but I want to see more of what this team can offer because clearly it definitely is a bit of a different team from Forces. I can say that because apparently Sonic Team had a complete restructure after Forces, but I wonder why. I wonder why. It's like, okay, Forces actually did sell very well, apparently. It actually sold really well. And apparently the adventure remakes were apparently if Sonic Forces did not sell well. But it's like it shouldn't just be about selling well. It should be about having a quality experience.
I always love it when like any company is just like, "Oh, so if this sells well or if this does this well, then we will consider." And it's like, shut up, just shut up, shut
Yeah.
up. You guys make things bad on purpose, or you market things poorly
Yeah.
because you don't want it to sell well. I don't know what you're probably looking for a way out. Like you're looking for a
Yeah.
way out or something. Like you just need to stop. Stop
Yeah.
telling me these lies. You're like spoon feeding me a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
Like
It's
there's like one anime studio that like I think are deliberately trying to like go under, and it's like Studio Gohan's. Like that's like an anime studio in Japan. Like they literally do not communicate with each other when they make their anime these days. Like it's like almost like they're just purposefully trying to go bankrupt. Like
oh
bankrupt us
yeah.
so we could go elsewhere or something. Like
Yeah.
let us go. Let us be free.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's like look at
what are you
EA.
doing?
Look at EA at the moment. It's like EA. I think I read somewhere that EA apparently wants to be bought out, and I'm just like, oh, I wonder,
Okay,
I wonder,
okay,
I wonder.
okay.
It's like I wonder why. It's like look at the practices at EA. It's like good old loot boxes and just microtransactions. It's like yeah, okay, microtransactions can be good in some things. Like if you've got a free to play game, like and you're like offering really cool microtransactions that don't affect how the game how you progress in the game, yeah, cool. But it's like EA, bruh, like look at why people don't like you. Look at why people don't like you. Like there's so many microtransaction sort of things that are going on and like the greedy practices. It's like of course no one's gonna wanna bloody spend money. Like where's the quality experiences?
Mm, I mean, it could be there, but it's just that it's behind a wall of microtransactions.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
it
like
is always a shame.
look at the track record with their recent games. It's like oh look how good our games are. We're getting 60s and 70s in Metacritic. It's like and 50s. Oh how good is that? It's like that's that's not good at all. Like for you're meant to be making these amazing experiences and it's like you're raving about how good this particular game franchise is doing when you've got like games that are not reaching into that like really high quality review scores. Like it's not a good look. Like Battlefield 2042, I think that was the game. Like no one wants to play it because it's not that great. Like I've never played it myself, but people are telling me it's not good. So just saying.
Mm, well, I don't know. Like I heard like a few things about it. I always think it's like good to try things yourself, but like
Yeah.
I don't want to play Battlefield because I hate playing hate playing shooter games and having to cooperate with people like like they're sitting there like Watcher 6 like he's behind the cover over there in front and I'm sitting here like uh um me
Yeah.
shoot me run forward because I can't I hate doing call outs like I can't do call outs of any kind so that's why I'm like when I play Call of Duty I'm like all right guys just remember I I spawn I spray I reload
Yeah.
like because I don't want to like cooperate with people like like when people are like oh yeah cover me I'm like um I'm in the enemy spawn. I can't cover you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
die. Bye. You could cover yourself. I cannot cover you. I could
Yeah.
cover you in Final Fantasy. I can't cover you here. I'm not playing Call of Duty to be cooperative with people. I am
Yeah.
playing to shoot people. Don't
Yeah.
make me
Yeah.
play cooperatively.
Yeah, it's like when I play, like, anytime I do play any shooter, it's like I'm usually, like, if I do play with a friend, yeah, I'll help them out probably but it's like if I'm just going in for like a team deathmatch or like a deathmatch game in general, I'm not going to help anyone. I'm just going in there just to bloody shoot up and get some kills. Like that's what I'm going in for. But it's
Hmm
but it's like just looking at like some of these companies and sort of going, man, like they've just lost their way. They're just not the same anymore. It's like you sort of go, what happened to them? Like what did they do? And it's like with Sega, it's just sad seeing that like okay, in some areas it looks like there's still some people in Sega that actually give a care, but there's a lot of people in the higher ups that don't give a care at all. And it's like, man, I just wish that those people would just open up their eyes a little bit and kind of see what's going on and go, oh shit, maybe we should make a good Sonic game. Maybe we should give the team actually some good resources to actually do something. And it's like the Sonic movie proved that Sonic can still be a really good franchise and can be really appealing to people. But now they need to translate the successes from that into their actual games and say, hey, let's make a really freaking good Sonic game and make people actually want to stick around with the franchise. You've got all these new people that have now been exposed to Sonic. Why not bloody just take the opportunity and do something? Like, okay, Sonic Origins, it's a remaster of the classics. Like personally, I didn't really care that much for it. I was like, okay, yeah, it's a remaster. It's games I've played many times. But there's still a lot of people that actually would have liked to have a really good experience with those. And yeah, sure, Sonic Origins will be just fine for a lot of people. But for the Sonic enthusiasts, it's not fully fleshed out. It's not fully fleshed out to the point that I would have considered it great. And Sonic Colors Ultimate, like Sega, okay, I give them a little bit of slack with the fact that the team that worked on the remaster of Sonic Colors was shit, but it's like, but Sega, like, you could have looked at Sonic Colors Ultimate and kind of you could have said, "Hey, let's review this before we actually hit the deadline and release it. Let's have a look at what the team has worked on and see if it's actually worth releasing." Because the Switch version was completely shit. Like the Switch version got really janked and butchered and had so many problems that they had to patch this game like crazy to get it into a better state. And it just looks embarrassing, especially like for Sega to come out and say, oh shit, we didn't really know it was that bad. We didn't know anything that was going on because we weren't told. It's like, okay, yeah, you weren't told, but like I would have gone, okay, like look at the track record of the company you were working with. Like they made some really shitty remasters and stuff in the past. It's like the situation with the GTA remakes. Like that
Mm.
turned out really bad, and a lot of people going, what's going on?" Like it's like my first question is, couldn't Rockstar themselves have done the remakes? Like they didn't need to do a lot. They could have just remastered it and added some like better graphics or whatever and just tweaked it up a little bit and released it. It would have been fine. They didn't need to go as far as they did to try and remake it, really. But the company they worked with there, again, another pretty bad company. Like the track record was pretty awful. It's like, granted, the only things that that company had worked on that was even remotely good was the iPhone and Android ports of GTA 3, San Andreas, and I think uh, I can't remember all the games, but all of those particular GTA games, like they did good ports of the Android and iOS sort of stuff. Okay, but why would you trust them with like remaking or remastering GTA on console if they'd never done it before? Like, why would you just trust them to do that?
I don't get companies most of the time.
Yeah, it's like I think they sort of go, "Oh, you guys can do it for cheap, right? Yeah, okay, we're gonna put you in to do it. All right." It's like we'll hand it over to you. It'll be cheap, right? Yes, okay. Low cost, so yeah, just do it. I think that's what Sega probably tried to do with Sonic Colors Ultimate. Go, oh, you guys will do it for cheap? Yeah, sure. But it's like I played Sonic Colors Ultimate on the Xbox Series X. It was fine. It was good. I It was a pretty good remaster, but it could have been a lot better. It could have been a lot more refined and polished. And apparently Sega themselves internally couldn't do it, so they were like, "Oh, we'll hand it off to some random studio to do it." Which, okay, it's like, what was my question would have been, what would they have done with the Sonic Adventure remake? Would they have bloody just handed it off to some random dev and gone, "Hey, go remake Sonic Adventure"? And I would be like, "Oh no, what are they gonna do?" Like, it's just one of those things. It's like if you can't viably do it, just probably don't do it, or at least wait till you have the
I,
resources to do it.
at this rate, I would suggest the same thing. Like I just don't get why like just be patient or something. Just please don't do it. Like, like this is like this is always so weird when companies do this sort of thing because like the same thing happens with like anime at times too.
Yeah.
Um like let's look at like Berserk, let's look at like Berserk 2016 for instance. That studio that was doing it, I don't know what the fuck the director was thinking,
Hmm.
but he made a bunch of 2D animators work on the 3D animation, and a bunch of 3D animators work on the 2D
Oh no.
animation. Basically, he switched their roles around essentially and was just like, "All right, so you're not good with 3D animation, so you're gonna work on 3D animation. Hey,
Oh
you're
my
not good
god.
with 2D animation, so you're not good at 2D animation, so you work on 2D animation. So he basically just made them go into this place and work on the show, and then was like, I can't believe that the quality was like how it was and stuff. Like I can't
Yeah.
believe it. And like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you can't believe it? You were the one who made the decision to do that.
Oh yeah. It's like I remember like Sega coming out in like 2015. So like after the disaster with the Sonic Boom games, and going, "Oh, we're very sorry about the quality of Sonic at the moment being not to the best standard." I'm just like, do you actually mean that? No, you probably don't. You're probably just like, "Oh yeah, let's just say what the fans want to hear, just so it looks like we actually give a care." It's like, no, you don't give a care. It's like at first a lot of the fans blamed like Big Red Button for the disaster with Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, because Sega made it sort of look like Big Red Button had stuffed everything up, and everyone and all the fans were like, "Oh shit! So Big Red Button, those assholes, they ruined Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric," and it's like, no, Sega ruined it. Sega came out and said to Big Red Button, "Hey, can you put this game to the Wii U?" And it's using like CryEngine 3, an engine like CryEngine 3, putting it on the Wii U, and oh, you only have like 6 months to get it done, and it's like it's not gonna work. Like Big Red Button even said to Sega, "Hey, this is not gonna work out," and Sega's just like, "I'm sure you'll find a way. It'll be fine. Everything will be good." And it's like really, like those guys were like overworked to the point of exhaustion trying to get Sonic Boom Rise Lyric in a playable state to release in, and it turned out to be probably one of the most awful Sonic games out there, probably even one of the worst games of all time as well, because Sega had overworked these guys into exhaustion. And like this team had so much promise. This team had ex Naughty Dog developers and people who worked on like Ratchet and Clank in the past and all that sort of stuff. It could have actually been, at the very least, a decent sort of game. But Sega decides to put them in the worst conditions and sets them up for failure so that their reputations are ruined as developers, and then just sort of discards it and goes, it's like it's not our fault, it's Big Red Button. It's like, no, Sega, it's your fault. It's like the same thing happened with Sonic 06. The same exact thing happened with Sonic 06, except maybe not to the same extent, but still, it's like you had a Sonic team that was stretched into two because they split the teams off because one team was going to work on a Wii version of Sonic 06 originally, while the other team finished off the 360 and PS3 version, which the Wii version led to Sonic in the Secret Rings, and that game, it's,
I liked it.
yeah, some people liked it, some didn't. I thought it was kind of cool. But like, and then you had Yuji Naka leave Sega right in the middle of development, which made things for the teams a lot worse because a lot of the teams were like, "Oh shit, well, what direction do we go in now? What do we do?" Because they had no real leader to kind of go, "Oh, I'll take charge and finish '06," or whatever the case was. So the team was split into two already, and that made it stressful enough. And then Sega was like, "Oh, you're gonna be ready for Christmas 2006, right? You're gonna have this game ready, so for the holiday season." And Sonic Team's like, "Yeah, yeah, it'll be ready." Like they're like just like kind of panicking in the background, going, "Shit, like what do we do?" And then like right near the end, they had to like skip bug testing and stuff because they had to just get this thing out, and they had a much more unstable but newer build of the game. But they were like, well, we can't use that because it will be the most glitchiest mess ever. So they had to revert back to an earlier build to release the game in that was more stable. So it's like Sega set them up for failure. And it's like, man, like just it's always has to be Sonic or some franchise that Sega like should really care about that gets set up for failure. And yeah, it's like come on, like Sega, like if Sega was just better at things, like then we wouldn't have the messes that we would have had with certain Sonic games. We wouldn't have had the inconsistency in the franchise, and we probably wouldn't have had the vast, super different opinions in the franchise about where the series should go, because everyone's got different opinions in the franchise. Everyone's got different mindsets of what Sonic should be. And granted, some of that is natural because some like the classics, some like the adventure games, some like the Boost era games, some like the darker stories and the lighter stories. But we need more consistency in the franchise of what to expect and where the series should go moving forward. And
Yeah, like I personally don't mind wherever the series goes so long as it seems like it's a good direction, but there is no consistency as you mentioned, and it's just like,
yeah,
yeah, I could do with more consistency if you would please just do that. Like, can you just do
yeah,
that for me, please?
yeah, Sega, like just give us more consistency. It's like if we had like the next Sonic game, if it's going to be open world, show us that open world works. Like Izuka himself said that the goal is that this game should set the formula for future titles for the next decade. And I'm like, okay, that's a good ambition to have. But it's like and like yeah, Izuka kind of set the direction back in 2010 with like Sonic Colors and Generations. But then his own team like skewed off that formula with like games like Lost World and then tried to experiment with different things. It's like, yeah, like that's cool and all. Like, yeah, you used the title like Lost World to experiment with different formula ideas, but why not have a different team work on that instead of your main team? Like, why not have the main team still working on like the next game like in the series in the main series that keeps a same sort of consistent formula? Like you had the formula with like Sonic Adventure, you had the adventure gameplay, you had the multiple playable characters, you simplified it in Sonic Adventure 2. Heroes then went in a completely different direction to Adventure 1 and 2, which made sense for the time though, because going multi-platform instead of being on the Dreamcast, it made sense to try something a little different. But then you didn't return back to the same formula. You just kept going in these different directions, like Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 06, going in all different directions and different sort of ideas. So there wasn't a continuous set of continuity and consistency like the classics. So what I would want to see now is, I mean, Frontiers probably could be set up, and some people are speculating that Frontiers could be set up as like a kind of not like full reboot, but like a sort of soft reboot of the franchise. Which, if it is, I mean, maybe it might iron out some of the problems in the franchise, but it needs to like just stick everything together, and then needs to have continuity and consistency. Because what I would like to see in Sonic is I would like to see personally, I would like to see the serious stories come back because I want to see Sonic actually have challenge in his stories, like emotional challenges and stuff, character development where we can actually see the characters interact with each other and be playable in the games. I would like to see just some elements of similarity as well from the past, like the boost gameplay remain, at least for now, as something that would be a continuous thing in the franchise until they can't really innovate it and want to change it. And but just in general, like I just want to see some things like more so with just see more characters be playable. That's one of my main things in the franchise aside from serious stories is just I want to see more characters playable. I don't want to see just Sonic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we've had playing as just Sonic for too long. And a lot of people theorized that the reason why Sega wouldn't have more playable characters is because they got, like, shot down by reviewers with 06. And they still seem to be recovering mentally from 06, which, I mean, come on, it's been how many years now? Like over 15 years since Sonic 06 came out. You can't still be in a state where you can't trust yourselves to make other playable characters. Like, surely like they experimented with having Shadow playable in Forces as DLC. Okay, cool. Shadow is a pretty simple character to be able to just implement. Like, he's basically nearly a reskin of Sonic. But and then you've had classic Sonic, which simple gameplay, okay. Then you had the custom character, which played very similar to Sonic, but you had like a wisp sort of weapon. Okay. Now that you've taken all that in Frontiers, why not then say, hey, let's make Tails playable. Let's make Knuckles playable. Let's have Amy playable. Let's have like the four main characters all
You're
playable.
you're speaking blasphemy right now. They don't know what to do. They don't know how
They
to do
don't know what
that.
to do. They're so
They,
confused. They're, they
that's so confusing. You just told them to make a game. I don't think you understand
it's like,
that's
what
really
is this?
hard. You're so insensitive. You are being very insensitive right now towards their feelings.
It's like, but yeah, it's like take all the knowledge you've learned from previous games and just slap it into Frontiers in a package that makes sense. And it's like Izuka keeps saying this, and he's like, "Oh, we're taking inspiration from the adventure fields from Sonic Adventure for the open world in Frontiers." Okay, cool, but how? Show me, show me that, show me that. It's like, and he's going, "Oh, the people that are criticizing the game just don't understand it yet." And it's like, yeah, we don't understand it because we're not being shown anything. Like,
Yeah, and you're like not you're not showing yeah, you're not showing us anything. It's like how recently like I'm like for instance, I like the Avatar movie, like I'm talking
hmm,
James Cameron Avatar. I like the Avatar movie when I first watched it, and so this new Avatar movie, The Way of Water,
hmm.
currently it has a runtime of 3 hours.
Oh wow.
Currently it has a runtime of 3 hours. And I say currently, not in a very light way either, because James Cameron also had another, thing where he was like lashing out because he's just like, oh, people could sit there for 8 hours binge watching a TV show and not eat or even use the restroom. But, so I don't want to hear them complain if it's like, I don't want them to complain whenever they're in a movie that's also for the same runtime. And I'm sitting here like, James Cameron, what are you saying? Are you trying to tell me that you're gonna make the Avatar movie 8 hours long?
Oh
Because
god.
if you do, I'm not watching it. If you do, I'm not watching it. I'm officially not watching it. Like, no.
Yeah.
You could go hop off. Why do these creators sit there and say stuff and like challenge the populace? Like, shut
Yeah.
up. Show us something and then maybe we won't be all upset. Just show us
Yeah.
something. Stop talking shit. Why are you responding back? Don't respond back to backlash. Do you not see what we did to the Sonic movie?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the Sonic movie. I mean, I was one of the people like, and I mean, a lot of people like were saying to me when's the Sonic movie first got shown off, and like we had that really bad sort of Sonic design. A lot of people were saying to me, "Oh, this design is so terrible. It's so bad." And I'm just like, I was kind of there. I was actually one person that was like, "Well, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Like they could have made it really, really bad." But I mean, the criticism was so out there that I mean, hey, it was good that they fixed it. It was good they fixed the design, but I mean, you basically just pressured an entire movie studio just to suddenly change up probably a lot of their work. And at the same time, I think a lot of Sonic fans kind of suddenly felt like they had this. Like, I remember someone said this in a video. Like, a lot of Sonic fans kind of feel like they now have this power to change everything, and sort of and now think that Sega will just like listen to them if they criticize one thing about Frontiers or any sort of stuff. Like, I mean, Sega's not gonna go and change Frontiers design in and out if we criticize something. Like, Sega's just gonna be like, nah, let's just keep going. And I mean, if they can prove us wrong, if Sega can prove us wrong and have like a Sonic game that comes out and is like the best thing ever since like Sonic Adventure 2 or something, I'd be happy. But I think Sega should at least have a level of confidence. Sega should come out with a level of confidence and say, we're backing this game 100%. We believe this game is going to be the best quality Sonic game in a long time, and prove it to us. Prove it to us sometimes that, yeah, the fans can be wrong, but prove it to our faces. Don't make Sonic fans have to feel like they have to keep telling you every single time and giving their opinions every single time why something is bad. I don't like personally. I don't want to have to sit and watch YouTube videos again and again, being like, "Oh, Sonic Frontiers is the worst thing ever," or I want to see people be positive, but I want to see it from Sega actually giving the effort to why we should be positive.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like I understand where you're coming from with like how like Sonic fans feel that they have the power to get anything they want changed, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like developers just don't understand most things. Like, you
Yeah,
meet like there are some developers where it's like they're listening to your criticisms and they'll adapt to it like, "Oh, okay, based off of that criticism, like we should change this and stuff." Because and it's good that they would do so, but there's often enough times where there's like creatives who talk a big game, and like when I mean like talk a big game, I mean like they really talk a big game, like
yeah,
you know like back in like 2015, I went to Anime Expo. It was like the only time I actually went to Anime Expos back
hmm.
in like 2015, and I went to like this Daisuke industry panel because Daisuke used to be like a free streaming service and stuff, and
Right.
that went under flames honestly. But Daisuke though, when I was there at the industry panel, Shoaikawa was there, and Shoaikawa is the scriptwriter for Full Metal Alchemist. Like,
Hmm.
the original Full Metal Alchemist. I believe he also wrote the script for like some of Eureka 7 as well. And like him and Mizushima Seiji, they were both there, and Mizushima Seiji is the director of Full Metal Alchemist and is also the director of the Full Metal Alchemist Conqueror Shambhala movie. So they're both pretty experienced. Like they're both experienced like, creators
Hmm.
inside like the anime industry. Well, Shoaikawa was sitting there and talking a big game and was just like anime like like anime today doesn't know how to make use of its genres. Like most anime end up being like stale, blah 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 blah. I want to make something refreshing. I want to like revolutionize anime again. And I'm sitting here like, whoa, whoa, this is
Yeah.
some big talk. Like, like that's some pretty big talk. What are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna do that? And so then he introduced this anime concept, and he showed a promotional video of it. It was Concrete Revolution, and I was like, revolutionize the anime community or industry again. And he starts with Concrete Revolution, and Concrete Revolution is an anime with every fucking genre in it. It has
Oh wow.
romance, drama, tragedy, supernatural, magical girl, idol, like it action, adventure, mystery,
Uh.
horror. Like it's got everything inside of it. It's one of those anime with all the genres, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is layered. That is completely layered. How are they going to make this work? How are they going to do this? Like you cannot pull this off. And when I finally sat down to watch, Concrete Revolution, I was so impressed with it. It was remarkable.
Hmm.
I don't think that it revolutionized the anime industry, but I definitely think that a lot of people could take notes from it on how to have everything in your anime but somehow still make it all coherent and like
Hmm.
flow well together, because it's one of those. And like I love
Yeah.
when creators like talk a big game and get like that, because it wasn't like they were sitting there and denouncing any creators. They weren't sitting there and talking shit to people. They're just like,
Yeah.
I think things are stale right now. I want it to be a bit more refreshing. It's not like, Miyazaki coming out of retirement being like, is anime still shit, and then makes another Ghibli film. Like
Yeah.
that tires me out. That tires me out all the time. Like, I know your films are good, Miyazaki, but please stop. Like, what is your son becoming the next Miyazaki? Never, I guess. I never.
Yeah.
But whatever. But like, I like when they do that. But then you have creators like James Cameron recently, who's just like, yeah. So James Cameron blames people and like their small attention spans for not being able to watch a really long movie or something. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah. It's like,
Shut
bruh.
up.
Yeah. It's like,
Like, actually, shut up. Like, what the heck why are you talking shit all of a sudden? Like, just relax. Go watch a movie. Go watch a movie that isn't Avatar or your Titanic movie. Please just go and watch something else. Just go and watch something right now. I
yeah.
beg of you.
Yeah. It's like bloody, like, if we look at it, like, if Izuka came out and said with Sonic Frontiers, like, if he said stuff like, hey, we want to revolutionize how Sonic plays in for the next generation or whatever, and actually showed us something that does that, I would be like, okay, I'm on board with you. But coming out and just being like, oh, they don't understand it yet, like they don't understand Sonic Frontiers yet, it kind of comes off like it kind of comes off going, well, like being like a bit of a dick, sort of like trying to like saying like the fans don't understand, like no one understands it at all. It's like but it's like, Izuka, the reason we don't understand is because we haven't been shown enough yet of
Yeah, and if
what your
and if the
vision
fans
is.
and if the fans don't understand, then please tell me why they're really good at making Sonic fan games and remaking games, but you guys aren't.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello?
Like, look at
Hello?
freaking, like, there's been some really amazing Sonic fan games out there. It's like you've got like Project 06 remaking Sonic 06. You've got so many 2D classic Sonic style fan games that do really well, like Sonic before the sequel, Sonic after the sequel. You have,
Sonic Omens looks really nice. I like
yeah,
that.
Sonic
I've been like,
Omens looks really interesting. Like
yeah,
the
like seriously.
It's like, I remember there's all the memes. I think originally it was like a meme of like saying Nintendo hire this man. It's like there should be memes like saying Sega hire this man, hire this person to make something good. It's like, Sega, you had Christian Whitehead come in with the Sonic Mania team and set classic Sonic up to be good. Like, to have classic Sonic back in the mix with like his own line of games. Now now Sonic Team, you need to kind of get some new people in to help you make 3D Sonic really good. And I remember this one reviewer came in and said, "Oh, I played Sonic Frontiers. I played so many hours of the game or whatever," and said, oh, this game could do what Sonic Mania did for classic Sonic, but for 3D Sonic. And I'm like, okay, but we still haven't seen enough of this game to kind of prove that. Like, if Sonic Frontiers does like a Sonic Mania and just blows us away, I'd be happy, but just Show us, please. Just show us something. Show us like cyberspace. Show us these missions. Like, okay, yeah, we still have a few months before the game comes out, but the way this game has been marketed is just making me go mental. It's making me go like, what are you doing? Like there's so much potential there, but it's like just making me and other Sonic fans and probably even non-Sonic fans just go mental. Like it's just sad. It's like Sega, fix your marketing team. Like you had the right people marketing Sonic Origins. That marketing was actually good. And like they had those Sonic Speed Strats videos and stuff, and it's like, okay, cool, but why can't you do that for bloody modern Sonic? Why can't you get like a like someone coming in saying, "Hey, look at what Sonic's doing in these mysterious islands in Sonic Frontiers." Like it's like where's the logic on Sonic Frontiers marketing?
I honestly, I mean, it could be worse. I mean, at least
Yeah.
they actually knew how to at least showcase their game. Like, like you would not believe the nonsense that I had seen with you've heard of the game Klonoa, right?
No, I haven't actually. No.
Okay. Klonoa is like it's like a platforming game.
Okay.
It's like a whole platforming game. It was like back from like the PlayStation 2 or something. Um,
Oh.
you know, and I think it was like by Bandai Namco back in the day, but Klonoa is like one of those really good platforming games. Like a lot of people like rave about it. A lot of VTubers like on like the Japanese side of VTubing played it too, and like
Hmm.
there's like many like good videos out there of Klonoa. I have never played Klonoa, and I've always wanted to play it. And so they introduced a Klonoa collection, which was both the first and second game, and in
Hmm.
HD, and it's Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series. And so Bandai Namco was just like, oh, if Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series does well, we'll consider doing more with the IP. But also from Bandai Namco, which I'm looking at this tweet right here, the demo is JP exclusive. You can't pre-order digitally, and physical copies don't exist in the US. And also, there's no marketing. And the game comes out this Thursday.
Oh.
Nobody even knew. Nobody even fucking knew that the game was coming out this Thursday.
Oh wow. It's
So this game is set up to fail. Basically, it's like it's
yeah.
it's it's destined to fail because they didn't even market it. I don't know what Bandai. I don't know what they were thinking. They're just like, nope. We don't like this fucking game. Like
Yeah.
you guys wanted it, but I guess we didn't want it.
Yeah, we're just
And
gonna we're just gonna shadow
bye.
drop it. We're just gonna shadow drop it, like literally just like, oh, here it is. It's out now. Like,
Yeah, bye. It's like what are you doing? Like
yeah.
what do you mean? But like whatever. I just
I mean,
okay.
if it was a really large game franchise that everyone knew, like, and they just said like, and they just announced that they were gonna shadow drop something like that was like a collection game, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, that could work, but it's a franchise that a lot of people probably haven't heard of that would love to get into. And then you're just gonna shadow drop it like basically and go, hey, it's out like in a couple of days. It's like it's not really a good idea. Imagine if Sonic Team came out and just said, "Hey, we're gonna shadow drop Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remakes."
I would be baffled. I would just be I hate that sort of thing. Like I don't get what's with companies. Like this whole
Yeah,
thing has been us like memeing on companies so far because like they make poor decisions. I don't get it. Like
yeah.
why are you what what's your problem?
Yeah.
Like why
This
can't you just can you like all it takes is for you to just make a few posts on social media. Get one of the teenagers who knows how to use social media to post it for you.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like look at the Spanish KFC Twitter. Like I
Wow.
don't know if you've seen the Spanish KFC Twitter, but the Spanish KFC Twitter is even makes Final Fantasy memes at random
That's freaking.
sometimes,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
and oh my, yeah, and it's a crazy, and it's probably some college student who's sitting in a freaking dorm or something, just bored as heck, and they like KFC was just like, hey, would you manage a Twitter? And he's like, yeah, no problem, and but just post different things
Oh
like
yeah.
I have a video here that that Spanish KFC had posted and stuff, and I downloaded it
Oh
and
wow.
stuff because I was like, oh my god, that's so fucking funny to me.
Oh, I'll have to look at the Spanish KFC Twitter after because it'll be so funny. But yeah, it's like I mean, there's just like there's it's like just manage the marketing better. It's like Sega. This was probably one of Sega's worst marketing sort of things they did back in the 90s. Uh, it's like they went to well, it's like they went to the first E3, and it was I think E3 1995, and Sony came out that year like basically we're going to come out that year with the PlayStation. Obviously, it was the first thing they were doing in the console market. Sega announces the Sega Saturn, like everyone, it was like $3.99 or whatever, and basically they thought, oh, we've got this in the bag, but this is what we'll do. This is what we'll do. We're gonna basically go, oh, it's out now. They went, hey, Sega Saturn, it's out now. Like at certain retailers, and it's like everyone, and even the third party devs were just like thrown off, going, huh? Why didn't you tell us this? Like, what's going on? Like, we had all these games ready for like the September sort of launch period, and nope, just it's out now. And Sega thought, oh, we're gonna have the big upper hand. We're gonna beat Sony to the punch. And then Sony comes around to their conference, and they're talking all this sort of nonsense, all these business sort of things. But then they go, oh, we're gonna bring up our I think like the head of PlayStation or the team or whatever, or head of Sony or whatever, and all he had to do was get up and go $2.99, and he walked off stage, and everyone was just clapping, going yes, yes, this is brilliant, because one, it was $100 cheaper than the Sega Saturn, and two, Sony still stuck to their release date and actually committed to everything. So no wonder the PlayStation took over and beat Sega, because Sega thought, oh, we're gonna have the upper hand. We're gonna be have the Sega Saturn out today. It's gonna be so good. But it's like, no, you just screwed over your third party developers. Plus, you screwed over retailers, because retailers were like, oh, we had everything ready for September for the original Sega Saturn launch date, and you just freaking come around and tell us it's out now. Like, it's like, just imagine if Nintendo came out with, I don't know, let's just say for some reason the new portable console, because the Switch is not good enough for portable stuff. Imagine if Nintendo just came out and said, hey, we're gonna make a follow up to the 3DS, and it's gonna be out tomorrow. Like, it would be the worst decision ever, because one, Nintendo's got the Switch, and that's doing well, so why would you suddenly ruin the momentum on that? And then two, if Nintendo just shadow dropped the console, I think it would go down just as bad as Sega with the Sega Saturn. So hopefully Nintendo doesn't do that in the future, which I think they won't, but I'd be surprised if I actually wouldn't be surprised if any company did make a dumb decision though. But it's yeah, it's like It's like Sony just had the easy upper hand because Sega just gave away the console race to Sony at that point.
Yeah. Man,
It's like
companies, man, companies.
companies make really weird decisions. Like
They do.
it's
They
like
sure do.
I've always discussed the idea of like wanting. I mean, I wouldn't form a company, but if I did, I would love to form like a company doing content creation stuff and like having people be part of it. But I wouldn't really treat it as a company. I would treat it more as like a group. So like how there's all the VTuber groups and some are companies, some are not, some are just like collaborative groups. Like I've always wanted to create a VTuber group and just like have a bunch of friends be part of that sort of group. But I don't know how I would do it. But I do know a few
I
people.
mean, it's just about setting out to like do it. Like you just got to do it. Like don't say you don't know how you're going to do it or anything. Just have like something established. Like, like
Yeah.
first of all, like, like a good place to like hang out together. Like, just like set up like a really nice like background for instance. Like where like when we like if we like all stream together like as a group, like what are we going to like what are we where are we going to be stationed? Are we going to be stationed in like a cafe? Are we going to be stationed in like a train station? Or are
Yeah.
we going to be outside like a convenience store? Like if you had like a background of like a convenience store, it's kind of like we all go meet up and everything and go grab ourselves a Slurpee and stuff. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
want a Slurpee. Let's go to the convenience store. Let's go grab a Slurpee.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Or
yeah.
something. Ah, brain freeze. Ah, brain freeze. You know.
Just like I've always wanted to because like I have the theme of like I guess like Team Color podcast and stuff. Like I've always wanted to form like a group surrounded, I guess, around the idea of like of just kind of like soft drink beverages. Like that would be kind of cool. Like have a VTuber group based off that sort of name, and maybe it's like who knows who we maybe we could start a VTuber group. Let's get people in as a VTuber group.
if,
Like
if
just
if you were like sitting here doing like the whole soft drink thing, then I'm technically Purple Flurp from Jimmy Neutron.
yeah, it's like
See, like, because I'm purple, so I'm Purple Flurp then. Like,
yeah,
I'm Purple Flurp, and like if you look at like Moe's colors, for instance, I would say that she's Starlight Coke. She's Starlight Coke.
huh, yeah. It's like just yeah. It's like that would be interesting. It's like
Y- Yeah.
yeah, it's like yo, let's just all start a VTuber group. Like come up with a VTuber group name and just be like, all right, this is the group now. Like and we're all just like and then we just have like a social media page that we can all access just to promote like all our streams together and stuff.
I think like a good backdrop for that, like if you were to do something like that, would be almost like a like kind of like one of those like really nifty like 50s or 60s diners and stuff, like the way that they're styled, or
Oh
maybe
yeah.
even like a 90 like an 80s or 90s inspired like diner like kind of theme. Really nice aesthetic and colors, really nice diner
Hmm.
tables, and like a good booth to sit in, and then you place everybody in like the booth, sitting at the booth together of like their preferred like soft drink beverage. Like
Yes.
I think that's like really cool. Like that'd be like something that's
Oh,
like pretty interesting right there.
I
It,
yeah.
it just like came to my mind instantly. Like it's just like right there, like off the top of my
Yeah.
head.
I can imagine like I guess I can imagine because like me and my IRL friends, like I think most of us tend to have a pretty sort of distinct style. It's like we we all tend to like a lot of emo music and stuff, so we all sort of vibe off that sort of thing. So I guess maybe having like an maybe a 90s or early 2000s sort of like mall setup, but like more like a bit run down sort of mall setup and like have a bit of a dingy sort of emo vibe to it. Like it could, and then just like we're all just like hanging out, just like with our favorite beverages and stuff, and looking kind of emo styled and or punk styled. It would look really cool. It just has that vibe. Like we could just have like a backdrop with that, and like have like an animation or something in that sort of style. It would just be really interesting. Yeah, it's just the ideas just like to come to my head where it's like, yes, let's just do something. Let's do something, and who knows? Maybe we'll come up with a VTuber group. Maybe we'll get people together and we'll form a VTuber group. Like
We see as I was thinking about like that whole like Team Cola thing, I was thinking of like something like in this video too. Like look at like how
oh
they
yeah.
like this is like Kurt Hugo Schneider. I was like surely you know this. But like if you like look throughout like the way that like the set is and stuff, like the color choices, like
Yeah.
you know, like yeah, the use of colors, the furniture presentation, and even like the little display with all like the like you know Coca-Cola bottles. It's like really interesting.
Yeah, it's like just like getting like I can sort of get like a glimpse of the style just based off like the I guess the thumbnail of it. It's like just seeing the guy wearing like the flannel shirt and stuff. That's like my vibe right there. I just like that flannel shirt vibe. It's like I love like the red and black just sort of vibe. But yeah, it's like I just it's like I've been really set on the idea of wanting to just do like a VTuber group that's just like a bunch of VTuber friends together, like maybe streaming together at some points. But yeah, it's like it doesn't have to be anything like I guess over the top, like with like the whole sort of looking at like VTuber companies like Hololive and all them. We don't need to be like them. It's like just be a
Of
fun
course,
group.
you just want a group of friends that like stream together, so that way it's like you know you almost like got like a motivation to like you know like stream some more. Like yeah.
Yeah, it's like and I do know a couple smaller VTuber groups that generally do streams together and hang out together, and it's pretty cool. Like but it's like for me it's like I want to kind of I guess have something like that. Like have something like where we have like a group of friends and have a page where we promote streams together and like just have like the listed times of when everyone's streaming and have some cool promo art together and stuff. It'd be awesome. It'd be really awesome to have that. But yeah, it's all for me. It's all ideas and it's all stuff that hopefully one day I'll be able to have and share and just like do stuff. But yeah, it's like I guess when it comes to like your streams and stuff, like what I guess what sort of some stuff that you probably want to do in future or sort of work on.
Oh, hmm. Well, something I really want to do in the future, obviously, is I'd really like to just be able to interact with like more people and stuff. Like, you know, I think like in my streams, I think I average about like 10 viewers or so, and
Hmm.
I think that that's pretty good. Like, I don't really care for numbers much in general. Like, I don't care if it's like one person like, as so long as it's at least one person, but I'm content and stuff. Like, it makes me feel good. But I think I like average like about like 10 viewers or so, and you know, whenever I am streaming, I think I have good conversations with them. I just really like interacting in chat, so I would personally just like to do more just chatting streams.
Hmm.
Honestly, that's for sure. But I want to grow more first. But I want to do more just chatting streams. I want to do podcasts, especially. So I'm sitting here and trying to think of things I could do to set up for a podcast and stuff. And honestly, I
Yeah,
think even like what you got over there, like that little VTuber mic asset right there. I think
yeah,
I do want something like that for sure too. Like I really would like to have like a little asset like that. But I want to set up for like a podcast. I want to like give myself like a nice good background. I want to make it presentable, and I want to be like, yep, I could set this up and I could do a podcast. And I need to like set up things like maybe like a Spotify or things like that and stuff, just so that way I could actually go forward with that. But I just want
hmm,
to do podcasting because I just want to talk with people. I just want to engage with them and understand more or less like where they're coming from. I just want to like like no, but I wanted my podcast to be centered around anime if I was to do one because like I like
yeah,
anime a lot, and it's like the thing I primarily talk about for sure because I love anime, and I love talking about the industry to some extent. But just in general, anime isn't like a niche anymore. It's really
yeah,
popular, but some people don't have safe spaces to talk about anime with because people act up or they sit there and get all critical of your taste and stuff. But I just want people to be able to come around and say like, hey, there's really good vibes here. I feel as though I'm not going to be pressured or judged for exactly what I'm invested in, and we could have like a nice, like-minded, civilized discussion. And I'm like, yeah, of course, you could come right ahead and do so. I don't
yeah,
mind anything that people talk about inside my chat, so long as it just doesn't get too personal. It's fine. I know that like I'm not sitting there and like making like a call out post here at like other VTubers, but
hmm,
I hate when other VTubers do like the whole like generalized thing like of like just remember VTubers are not your therapist. Please be mindful when you come in and like start trauma dumping and stuff. And it's like, yeah, people should be mindful of that. Like they should definitely. They should look at the rules and stuff. Like if there are rules set into place like, oh, don't trauma dump and stuff. Like, I'm not a therapist, and that's understandable because some people can't handle specific conversations. But I always, I'm okay with talking to people about things on stream and off of stream. I just don't want people to sit there and think that like automatically like oh you're my girlfriend or boyfriend or something like that. Like
hmm,
I just want people to be able to like talk because like like talking is all we have, and like it's like you need to talk. Like some people need to talk. Some people can't afford a therapist. Some people can't afford doctor visits. Some people literally cannot speak to their friends at all because their friends are sitting there and saying, oh, I'm tired of hearing it. And I want people to be able to talk to me. Like
hmm,
I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I hate parasocial relationships. I want people to talk to me, and I want people to think that sometimes I could be a friend. Like, do take me as I am. I am a streamer, but at the end of the day, I am a human being too, and I would like to talk to people so I can understand the sentiment of people wanting to speak as well. Because they do, and they should. Because I don't want people to be alone, and I don't want bad things to happen to them. It's not my responsibility of what happens to a person or not, but I would still rather not have that. So I think people should talk before they're overwhelmed, before they overflow.
yeah, yeah. I think the way I've sort of put it in, I guess, in my streams and stuff, like I have seen a lot of the posts where people talk about like saying like, yeah, don't trauma dump in, let's like say, in people's stream chats. And yeah, I tend to be someone that's like, hey, like, yeah, you can talk, you can tell me like a little bit about what's going on as long as it's not too personal, but don't expect me to like have all the answers to like the problems that are going on. Like, don't expect me to have all the answers. I can give my own takes on some things, but I can only give from my own life experiences and what I've been through myself. But also, it's like I've always sort of said like, yeah, it's like if you wanna like if you haven't had a good day or if something hasn't been going right, yeah, you can come into my stream. You can tell me a little bit about it, just don't go too far with the details, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and be as open as I can be on it, and I'll try and respond back at least a little bit, but just don't come in and just go, oh, like all this stuff has happened and it's all like gruesome details and it's all like this, because there's no way I'm going to be able to read all of it, and I don't think that everyone in chat will want to see all that's going on. But just like I say, it's like just be mindful when you come in the chat, and just be respectful, be mindful, and yeah, you can tell us like, hey, you haven't had a good day, like because maybe because of XYZ, but just don't don't make it too overwhelming. Like just
Yeah.
keep it civil.
Yeah, and if you want to expand upon it further, you can go into like the DMs and stuff, so long as the streamer's okay with it.
Yeah.
And, just talk to them about it. Like, I'm fine with people talking to me about things. I do not mind. Like, like one of the best things that like ever happened, like when I was like, on my anime blog on Facebook, for instance, is I was sitting there streaming and I was like just talking like about my anime, like, like my anime list. Like I was like, oh yeah, let's go talk about like my anime list in this upcoming anime season. And then
Hmm.
some person comes in and is just like, hey, and like I was like, oh hey there, how are you doing today? And he's like, oh, I'm not doing so good actually. Like like, is it okay if I like DM you about it? And I'm just like, oh, you can talk about it here and stuff. Nobody's gonna judge you. And
Yeah.
he's like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? Because like there's like a bunch of people watching. You have like 40 people watching this, like, right now, that's like just chill with you. And I'm just like, if they have any problems, I'll ban them from the page. There we go. I'll just ban them. I'll
Yeah.
just ban them from the page. You can talk about whatever you want here. And the guy was like saying that like, oh, it's just that my wife of 2 years left me, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so sad. I'm so sorry. And like, I was trying to give him some advice and stuff, but
Hmm.
when I was trying to give him some advice, some person was just like, "Shut up! Stop speaking. We'll
Oh
handle
wow.
this." And I'm like, wait, what? But you guys will handle this? And so then every one of my little followers that were inside the stream at the time, they started helping the guy out, and I'm just sitting there and like watching the chat. I'm like watching the comments fly around back and forth, and they're sitting there
Oh wow.
comforting him and helping him, and I'm just like, yeah, this is my community. But they told me to shut up. They told me to shut up and
It's
stop
like
talking.
shut up, streamer. We're gonna help him out.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like
gonna help him out. Like, I was sitting here
help.
like, you know what? Like, I love these guys. I love these guys so much. Like, thank you guys. Like, I just wrote an anime blog, but thank you very much for being so nice and caring towards people. I'm glad that that's what my community consists of. That's what
Hmm.
makes me happy. That's what my community consists of, and I think I want to pride myself off of hopefully having the same community, like in VTubing too. Like, I hope that I
Hmm.
have that same kind of community aspect where people will talk and care for each other. So, I just want them to be fine. Like, like my one of my favorite people that comes by my streams is your neighbor Gary over there. He's great. He's
Hmm.
great. He's a young one, this one over here, but he's a really good kid. And like, that's the type of person right there that I really value having around and stuff, because like, he talks about himself like to a good enough extent. He doesn't get overwhelming or anything, and at the end of the day, he's just a genuinely good person who just wants to know that you're doing well, and I want to know that he's doing well too. So it's
Hmm.
like that, like, you know I appreciate Gary over here. Like, he makes me think back of like how my first like humble beginnings were back on like Facebook, and so like that's like really good. Like, he's great. So that's
Hmm.
what I have to say. Like, it's just like that. Like, I hope that I will have like a really good community that's really friendly towards each other and will not sit there and be like, aggressive towards anybody. Like, I just want them to be relaxed. Like, relax, take some time out of your day, and help those and talk to those who need it, because that's all we need to do.
Yeah, and it's like I think sometimes like I guess like the VTubing community sometimes can be I think quite overwhelming, like especially for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like not just like for I guess like new VTubers, but the established ones as well. Like it can be really it can be overwhelming because like sometimes like you're scrolling through VTuber Twitter and you just sort of go through and you go, oh, man, like I just want to see the good posts. I just want to see the positivity in the community. And then you just see all this other stuff as well where it's like, oh, this person did this to me. And it's like, man, like I wish we didn't have that. I wish we didn't have to see that sort of stuff. But at the same time, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I do understand sometimes, like, yeah, we do need to be made aware of like some people in the community who have done really bad things and have done stuff to hurt many people. And like you read the twit longers and you go, okay, but it's like I think sometimes it's like I'm not saying like that people should like just shut that off entirely and not do that, but I'm saying like if it's like a if it's like something that's really just a petty drama that's not really relevant to a lot of people just between but it's more just between yourself and another person, at the very least like keep it to yourself, and if it's something that shouldn't be really need to be known about in the wide community, just keep it to yourself. Keep it in the DMs, keep it private. But if it is something that like everyone should know about, like especially in some cases where we've got potential predators in the community trying to do really bad things, yeah, let everyone know. Let everyone know what's going on with that. But it's like just kind of manage a bit better what stuff needs to be a twit longer to everyone and what doesn't. It's like don't make all the petty stuff known about in the like all the time because it doesn't come off as it doesn't come off really well. And it just makes it look like you're out for pettiness between yourself and another potential streamer or VTuber. It's like you just want to kind of limit that sort of stuff in a way so that people kind of go, oh, I can at least scroll Twitter a bit more easier and not have to see all that stuff. I don't want to go on Twitter every day and just read, oh, this streamer's an asshole or this streamer is has said this about me. It's like, okay, yeah, but do I care? Is it my sort of thing to know about? Not really. Like unless it's something actually offensive and something that isn't something that we should see. Yeah, okay. But if it's just like a little beef between two streamers, I don't really want to know about it. It's not my thing to know about if it's just a petty
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
beef. Like I've seen it on Twitter and I'm just like do I need to know? No, not really. Like I don't need to know who likes who and who doesn't like who. It's like what I would want to know is like if I see a tweet longer, I want to actually have a reason to really need to read it. Like I want to have a reason that kind of goes, oh, there's this predator in the community that needs to be blocked and stopped in their tracks, and it's like okay, yeah, I'm down to know that. Like that's something important. That's something that we should be all working together to stop. But if it's just some sort of stupid beef that gets put in a twit longer, I'm just like, I don't need to know about that. It's not my place to know about it. It's not my place to be part of that. Like, it's like, I don't want to see that. It's like, so VTubers, just please kind of manage your twit longers a little bit better. Just
Yeah.
because some people are going to click on those thinking it's a really serious sort of thing, especially with a lot of the stuff we have seen in the past. Like, I've seen some Twitlongers explain stuff about things that have happened in the community, and it's like and you sort of go, oh shit, twit longer. Like fuck, I might need to read this. This might be important. And and it's like just it's like if you got like petty dramas between other VTubers that shouldn't really be brought to light because it's something that like isn't really relevant. Don't put it in a twit longer and don't start trying to call each other out because it just looks really bad. Some people like me, I tend to be someone that just wants to steer away from it and kind of just sit back and not try and play any fuel to the fire. Like I just want to sit back and go, okay, those two are having beef. I'm gonna let them sort it out. It's not my place to get involved. But yeah, it's like I see it enough. I see it enough IRL with friends where it's like people have beefs, and I just go, man, can we just get along, please? Like, can we just?
No.
But no, it's like, nope, can't get along. But it's like if you can't get along with people in the community, and because like you got a beef, like something broke, like the communication broke down or something, we don't need to know about it in a big twit longer. Like, we just don't. It's like it's like if communication broke down, that's all you need to really come out and say. Like communication broke down, we're not friends anymore. But it doesn't need to be made like this giant public deal. It just needs to be kind of ended quietly. And if people do ask about it in the stream one day, just say like, hey, we're just went our separate ways. That's all that happened. Like there's no need to add fuel and to the fire and start a big drama. But I mean, sometimes it's like sometimes it's true. We all do come out and we all do make mistakes, like in the community. I feel like sometimes there are some things that do get put a little bit too, I guess, harshly on some when it comes to, I guess, mistakes. Like some things do come out and you go, okay, maybe there wasn't a need for a big giant backlash by from some. But at the same time, there are some issues where people don't really, I guess, kind of be harsh enough on the criticisms. It's kind of it's one of those things where it's like you look at some creators and you go, okay, they got treated a bit harshly by the community just because of this sort of little issue that could have been resolved. Yeah, okay, the VTuber didn't resolve it very easily, and it took them a lot of time to finally learn. But then there's some where it's like you go, okay, they got let off way too easily on that. Like, what's the deal with that? Why did everyone just let them off too easily? So I don't know. It's just the way the community reacts to things.
Yeah.
Like it's like if I made a big mistake, then I would expect people to call me out for it. I'm not gonna sit back and go, oh, like I'm better than everyone else. I'm gonna come out and actually say, okay, I learnt from my mistake, or I'm gonna come out and say, okay, I'm gonna make sure I'm better this time. And if I'm not, hold me to account. Actually hold me to account and tell me. Like, that's the best thing you can do. Like, you don't have to be super harsh about it, but like, at least tell me if I do something wrong. Like, I don't want to be someone like, yeah, I would say I would be scared if someone like if I suddenly had all this hate come my way, I'd be really scared. I'd be like, what's going on? What do I do wrong? But if I had people, if I've got friends that can like give me advice and friends that could help me out and tell me what I did wrong, I would be like, yeah, absolutely, I'll be better. So so yeah, in the community, I would expect that people should just be better at communicating as well. Like people should be better at like pointing out things like if I forgot to do something, tell me. Tell me I forgot to do something or if I did something wrong, tell me I did something wrong. Like we're all human. We make mistakes, but some things deserve the well-deserved criticism. Some things don't necessarily. And it's like I've seen people complain about VTubers having relationships, and I'm just like, well, hey, they're not. It's like a VTuber is not like your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. They're not your partner. Like you don't like just because we're behind a character doesn't mean we're suddenly like in your fantasies. Like it doesn't. It's not like we're just suddenly in your fantasies and like being your partner or whatever. Like we still have our own lives. We still have
Mm-hmm.
our own stuff that we do in our own life. And sometimes I've seen it can get really weird. I've seen like some people can get really weird and they expect you to be this sort of image and they expect you to be, oh, but you're the VTuber, you're the character, it's like I want you to be what I want you to be. It's like no, I be what I want to be. Like I'm it's like I'm the creator, I'm the streamer. I have the control and liberty to do what I want to do. And I have an IRL life behind this. Like I don't have to play into anyone's fantasies or ideas or whatever. Like I'm my own person. And to see people criticize like VTubers for having relationships and stuff like that, it just really saddens me. It's like they've got their own life and no one should be trying to peek into their life and learn everything about them. Like if you it's like some streamers will be okay telling a lot about their personal life, some aren't. Like you don't have to force them to open up about their IRL life and sort of stuff. And but there's just some weird people out there. It's like some people have these really weird motives and think that they can I guess, think that they can just kind of go around and dictate what a VTuber is or what a streamer is. But my sort of, I will admit, this is probably a bit of a hot take of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bring up a meme I put up on Twitter. This was like a meme I put up probably a few days ago, and I sort of argued this: there are no set rules to be a VTuber. Change my mind.
Mm, there aren't. There really aren't, honestly. Like, there is no set rules. I don't think there's even any set rules to be a streamer. It's just more like, common sense, I guess. It's common sense.
Yeah, because I feel like some people try and go around and dictate what the rules are to be a VTuber, and they go, "Oh, you." It's like to be a VTuber, you have to be this, or to be a streamer in general, you need to be this, and it's like you don't really. Like you don't. There's no rule. Like there's no definition to be a VTuber. It's not like some people go and go, oh, you need to have a live 2D model. It's like, well, for starters, I don't have a live 2D model. I'm a Vroid character. So,
Yeah. But everybody gets up in arms about that, and it's like whatever, because like in the
yeah.
future things are going to change, obviously. Like
Yeah.
there'll be some who hate it, there'll be some who don't hate it. It's just like I always just like shrug at that. It's just like it's just
Yeah.
streaming, just it's just that people do it with an avatar now, and sometimes their avatars have really cool things that they can't do IRL, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's like some try and say like, hey, VTubers should never reveal their face. And I'm like, well, if a VTuber feels comfortable revealing their face, then they can.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Like they can do what they want. They can reveal their face. That like I revealed my face many times. I was an IRL streamer beforehand, so that kind of made me
Yeah, exactly.
so I can do whatever I want. It's like if some but if at the same time it's like if a VTuber doesn't feel confident revealing their face, don't pressure them to. Like Like they can do that in their own time if they want to. Like some days they might feel comfortable to do so, so they might put up a post on Twitter and go, "Oh, I thought to show my face today." And I'd say be supportive of that. Like if they want to reveal their face, they can. If they don't want to, it's fine too. Like
Mm-hmm.
there shouldn't be any expectation that oh, like VTubers should never ever show their face. It's like, well, if they want to, so be it. If they don't,
Yeah.
that's fine too. Like I'm not gonna go around and tell people, "Oh, hey, do a face cam stream because I want you to." It's or it's like, "Oh, why are you showing your face on Twitter? This is disgusting. I'm gonna unfollow you." It's like, well, go unfollow me then. Like, I don't care. Like, it's like I have the liberty of doing what I want on my Twitter or my I don't know, my streams in general. Like, it's like I'm the
You
streamer.
can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, but I feel like there's some people that try and go around and go, oh, like there's like it's like, oh, my emotion is ruined. You showed your face. It's like, how? Like, just because you show my face, just because I show my face doesn't mean that I'm not a VTuber. Like, you can still go to my stream and I'm still a VTuber. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Like just because I might reveal my face on Twitter or whatever doesn't mean that the immersion is ruined. And I don't like people really using the term immersion. It's like I don't see the point. Like it's like if I was doing this podcast with my IRL face, does that suddenly mean that the immersion of VTuber is ruined? Like no.
No.
Like if I suddenly turned around and was like, oh, like this is I'm gonna be back in my IRL form from now on, like in the podcast, then it doesn't mean the immersion of a VTuber next to me is ruined. It's like they're still a VTuber. They're still doing what a VTuber does. I would just be not being a VTuber myself, which wouldn't change anything. Let's see. Uh let's see. I always like the thought of faceless people like the Carmines in Gears of War. Okay. Yeah, I personally I'm not too big on the Gears of War franchise, so I wouldn't really know. Um
Oh, it's just that the Carmines just don't have a face. Basically, they always wear a
okay.
helmet and like
Right.
like it's like pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's like but yeah, it's like I think people like try and I don't know, I feel like it's like I feel like people trying to say there's definitions to being a streamer or a VTuber. It's kind of like would gatekeeping be the right word? Would it be like they're trying?
It would be that they're trying to gatekeep because people want what they want specifically. Like there are
Yeah,
people who are like sitting there and they don't like any American VTubers or English speaking VTubers because they're like
yeah,
it's not my Japanese VTubers. Like then there are
yeah,
people who are like oh I prefer only indie VTubers because any of the corporate ones are not actually good people and it's like how could you say that when there are very, very many, like, there's a bunch of people who are really good people that are still corporate VTubers? Like,
yeah,
like, there are people of these opinions, and the reason why they have these stances is because it's simply because, I guess, of, like, I feel like it's like a fandom thing. It's like
yeah,
always a fandom thing.
yeah. I
Like, how
remember.
people are like, oh, none of the, like, like, none of the bigger games out there are actually worth buying because you're buying into corporate schemes and stuff. And it's like, no, please,
It's not
can you stop?
necessarily.
Can we just play a game just to play a
Yeah,
game or something? Like, can we like
yeah,
watch a streamer just to watch a streamer? Like, just relax a little bit. Like, your
yeah,
blood pressure must be so high.
yeah.
Well, just relax.
It's like I remember I remember I had a few friends who went to Anime Expo this year, and I was thinking, man, like Anime Expo looks so cool because like you've got the Trash Taste Boys there, you've got all these VTubers there, you've got like so much cool stuff, and then and I see the announcement like, and I actually watched this live, and it's like, oh, Kaison's joining V Shoujo, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, I didn't expect that, really, like Kaison joining V Shoujo, that's gonna be interesting. And then like you got this new VTuber as well joining V Shoujo. It looks cool. But like you see some people going like, "Oh, this is outrageous. This is disgusting." Like, "Oh, why is Kason joining V Shoujo?" And I'm like, "Well, if she wants to join V Shoujo, then she can." Like, I got nothing wrong with it. Like,
Yeah, there should be nothing wrong with it. Like it's like whatever, let them do what they want.
yeah.
You don't get to decide anything. Like I feel like you're an individual. What's the like what is your individual consensus? Like if it was like a unanimous consensus, like if like that was like some big like, like if they were literally on the level of like R. Kelly or something. Everybody
Hmm.
knows what R. Kelly's done. It's like I would understand like if like some person that was like similar to R. Kelly was joining V Shoujo, like oh it's like oh but that
Oh,
person has done so many things like
yeah.
like that's like they're kind of like R. Kelly in that sense. It's like I would like understand something like that. Like I'm just like giving like a quick example like without having to say any like really bad like things because I just don't want to because I'd rather be safe. But
Yeah.
it's just like yeah, like I would understand if that was the case, but Kayson's like not doing anything wrong, so like let
Yeah.
her join. Like, who are you as an individual to like stand against that? Like, like you're over here and you're giving your money away to people when you could probably be doing your own thing. Then, like, just don't give V Shoulder your money. Then,
Yeah,
like, go do
if
something
you don't
else.
like
Like,
it, if you don't like it, don't give V Shoujo your money.
yeah,
Like
like, just take your money
that's the way it
elsewhere, dude.
is. Like personally, I have nothing against the V Shoujo VTubers, so I tend to like a lot of the stuff that they do. Like, yeah, I will admit there's been probably some stuff in the past that hasn't really gone down well PR wise, but I'm
Hmm.
hoping in general they've learnt from those mistakes. Like, and I'm hoping that they can do better. If they come out and say they want to do better, like give them the chance to do better. And yeah. But like I've got nothing against them, and it's like I've got nothing against any of the corporate VTubers or the independent VTubers, like or even the grouped VTubers. Like I've got nothing against any of them. Like they're all doing their own thing, all trying to please their audiences, and yeah, it's like oh, and I see it's the bros. It's my best friend, the bros. What are you doing, man? How's it going? But yeah, it's like it's like I don't have anything against them, and they want to try and please their audiences, and like oh, um, I'll probably answer that off stream, bros. I'll talk about it off stream, but yeah, but yeah, it's like there's all that sort of stuff where it's just like you sort of go, okay, but if you don't like it, just don't give them your money. It's like,
Yeah, it's very simple. Like you don't have to sit there and like give your opinion, like because it's like your opinion. Like I didn't ask for it. I asked for the pepperoni pizza. Like so,
yeah,
please give me my pepperoni pizza instead. I did not want your opinion. Um, L plus ratio. L plus V Shoujo makes way more money than you. So
yeah,
you as a singular person could not sit there and determine whether or not like oh this person should not join like give like a pros and cons if you're like uh she's too she's too yes go on speak
yeah. It's like, and then this is like,
I just don't like her. Okay, bye.
yeah,
Bye then.
yeah,
It's like bye.
yeah. It's like, I know, like, there's probably, I think people are still talking about the controversy, that Kason had when Kason was playing a particular character in Hololive, uh, and people are still like criticizing the stuff that happened there, and I'm just like, I mean, it wasn't really a big problem. Okay, yeah, there's probably some mistakes that were made there if we get into those sensitive sort of areas, but it's like it wasn't anything that was intent to be problematic. So I don't think that you can really justify hating on Kason because of anything like that. But it's like,
Yeah.
but Kason's moved on, and Kason is doing their own thing, and they've decided to join VShojo. So good on them. Like for me, it's like good on them. They're doing what they want to do, and I'm glad that VShojo is willing to be welcoming to her and this new VTuber and trying to set up VShojo Japan, which seems really cool. One thing I'm really curious on though, with VShojo at least, is I remember there was all those like people that applied to join VShojo, um, and so far we haven't heard much on that. It's like it's to me, it's like for me, it's like it's been a while, so I'm kind of just like wondering when we're gonna hear anything about that because I know it also did happen around the time when some of those controversial things happened as well. But I am curious to see who would be introduced to VShojo aside from just the new VShojo Japan branch. Because a lot of people applied, so I'm curious, and I thought, and actually that was what I thought was actually going to be announced at the VShojo panel in in Anime Expo, but we never got that. So I was actually really surprised. I was like, oh, okay, we haven't heard from that, and instead we got Kason and this new VTuber joining VShojo, which is cool, but it's kind of leaving me wanting to know more. Like, it's just leaving me wanting to know who's the new additions from the Western side of things, at least. So,
Hmm.
because it has been, I think it's been probably about a year now. So, so it's like, okay, a lot of people applied, but lots of people would still be wanting to know what happened with that. So, it's just kind of on my mind. It's been on my mind since when VShojo announced the panel, but hopefully the answers come soon. But yeah, I'm trying to think. What else can we talk about before we wrap up? I guess like we've talked about Frontiers. We had a pretty good discussion about Sega and Frontiers in general. Talked about VTubers obviously because that's a pretty stock standard theme. Uh,
I was actually thinking we could wrap up like soon because like it's getting pretty hot in my room. Oh my
yeah,
god.
damn. Like, yeah, it'd be summer over there, ain't it?
Yes, and I, like yeah, and heat's pretty bad for me, so that it's like it's kind of ooh, it's killing me right now. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like winter at the moment. We've been getting like a lot of rain and stuff, and I'm just like,
God,
man,
I wish I had rain.
yeah, it's like this is probably the most rain we've had in a long time. Like, the unfortunate thing is that it's also flooded a few areas around me. Not in my place, but like around the area. But it's just a big downpour
I
of
guess
rain.
what we could do in closing as like a little final thing to touch on
Hmm.
is let's you're the podcast host here, so how about this? Who is your next person that you're going to think to bring on? Who do you want next? Like
Ooh,
immediately after. Who do you want next to come on?
ooh, yeah. It's an interesting thought because it's like I tend to not think about it straight after the podcast, except maybe like a week or two after. But I do have a few people, like I've got a big list I've been working on. So I want to think
Okay,
about
okay. Okay, like just literally like roll a die real quick, like roll a die and stuff, do like a dice roll and stuff, and in the next few weeks make that the person that you're getting. So let's
Hmm.
hear who's on that list. Let's hear who's on that list.
Okay. Okay. Um. So okay, there is one particular person I'm thinking of, and I see their posts a lot, and I have seen them express interest in the past about wanting to come on
Mm-hmm.
the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
Who is it?
VTuber, there's a VTuber by the name of Queen Ophelia the Third, and she's done like a few. She's more of like a YouTube streamer, I guess, YouTube VTuber streamer, and she does like a lot of like narrative driven games where it's like story based games, which seems cool. So maybe I'll be reaching out to her to come on the podcast next. So that's probably who I've got in mind for the next episode because obviously
Hmm.
a lot of people do know I have had one very particular person in mind since episode 1 to join, but I'm going to sort of hold off a little bit until I get a bit more time to sort of figure that out. But and I'm pretty sure like Rina can already guess who I've really wanted for a long time to come on the podcast. But yeah, so we'll wait on that one. Uh, and I'll try and get Queen Ophelia to come on. So, bros, do you know? Do you know, bros? I mean, you sort of know. You would sort of know, but like, but Rena especially would know as well. So
Yeah, I know.
we had conversations about. I'm trying to think. Did I actually tell you, bros? I know I probably told you on a few occasions, but okay, okay. I, I'm pretty sure bros is on the same page. I'm pretty sure he's on the same page with who I've wanted since episode 1, but we'll see. Maybe the orders might rearrange before I arrange for the next podcast episode. Who knows? The orders might shift around, but Queen Ophelia is also on my list. Uh, like Queen Ophelia is also someone on my list because she's expressed interest before. So yeah. But either way, I think that's going to wrap up this episode. I'm sure there's probably a lot more we could definitely discuss, but I think uh, I think we'd probably go way over the time, probably. And
No, we didn't go way over the time.
no, we've actually done pretty good uh, with the time schedule. But at the same time, like I know a lot of people have asked me about the idea of having people come back for the podcast again, like doing like kind of episodes with old guests, which would be a cool idea. So maybe I might sort of think about later in the year doing like a special where I get a bunch of people on instead of just one, which might
Oh yeah, literally get a bunch of people on at the same time. That'd be cool.
yeah, do like a Team Collar podcast special and have so many people join at once. Maybe something like a comfortable number like 3 or 4 all together like chatting. It'd be a cool idea.
I know that if I had to pick someone I'd like to be on with, if you had me back, I'd love to be there if Isabella's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I can imagine like an episode like we could have us two, like Bella,
yeah, Isabella. He
one maybe another person as well. We could definitely arrange something. So
Isabella is cute, so
yeah, like I think I was talking to Bella probably a couple of days ago, like, and they were talking about Anime Expo, and they might want to
mhm.
send me stickers from Anime Expo, which would be really cool.
Well, that's cool.
But yeah, so either way. we will wrap up here. So thank you guys so much for coming in today. Hope you guys have all enjoyed. Thank you especially to Rena for coming on to the podcast.
No
And
problem. Who are we rating? Well,
ooh,
actually, let's look at a list of people that I've got here that we could potentially raid, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
let's have
Okay,
a
let's
look.
see. Let's see. Who is still alive? Oh, I got people streaming art. Let's look. Let's see.
Who could we raid?
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
Let's see.
Okay, let's see.
I would love to.
Page.
I would love to raid Chibi, but I think I don't. I think I'd be too small. Like, because
It did, oh, it, oh, I
some
don't think that size doesn't matter,
yeah, I think
especially
it's just
achievement.
some streamers tend to turn off their raid features, I think. So
Yeah, yeah. Let's see.
yeah, so I don't think
Oh,
I'm
you know what? I think I know someone you'd probably get along with, but who's got good humor and stuff.
all right.
We should raid Chiffon Chevalier.
Okay.
Here. I link his Twitch.
All right. All right. Let's see if I can Sean Chevalier. Alrighty, they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel as well. Alright, so we will raid this person. But as always, thank you guys so much for coming in. Hope you guys have enjoyed today. And hopefully hopefully I'll might have another stream before I go away on holiday, but we'll see. So
Yep.
yeah. So thank you guys for watching and we'll see you all next time.
See ya, everybody. And hopefully you enjoy the raid over here at Chiffon because, yes, we are going to raid him and he is playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's like a sweet knight or something. Like, he's like, he's literally has sweets all over the place. So
Yeah.
you could probably eat his sword.
Alrighty, let's start the raid. So see you all later.
Bye bye.